like it.
All right, and we're off.
So, in terms of Sloth goals, what does he have to do as child? The Death Mountain skulls, the
Yep.
Bottom of the Well skulls.
Yep. And that appears to be it. Depending on how quickly he picks up ZL, he might decide to do Skull Kid as child, but who knows? So the first loading zone is Kokiri Forest from the shop, and it looks like both players are headed towards the sword.
Also, probably going to do the rupee route just to grab a couple of early rupees, just in case they happen to find a shop with a sword or not sword, a shield, or perhaps some Deku nuts and Deku stick.
Rupees are a very excellent thing to have early on in a beta quest. Generally, if I spawn in Hyrule Field, I tend to go towards the gate to pick up the red rupees there, even though it might be a tiny bit out of my way. Just because it's a free 60 rupees, and both players opening up the chest for the Kokiri sword.
It's definitely a good idea to get as many rupees as you can early, because you really want to have that option of buying a Deku shield or a Hylian shield if it pops up.
A very good thing to have about getting a sword as early as this is if the first loading zone these people check leads to trials, they can instantly go and attempt to get Choose from Spirit Trial.
Yeah, it's a bit rougher without nuts or anything, but it's definitely possible. It'll be interesting to see if they go for it, though, or whether they prioritize checking loading zones over the Choose early.
There we go, Exodus. Looking like he's going towards Lost Woods loading zone. Oh, no, he's just picking the rupee up behind the house. Never mind. I almost forgot that rupee existed.
A lot of people do, but the interesting thing is everyone's so used to doing the rupee route where you get 35 rupees and then you enter the shop and get the last 5 in the Deku shop itself. But because you don't know where these warps are going to go, there's no guarantee that you'll be able to find that 5 rupees.
Oh my goodness! ZL is
wow.
Wow! Okay! Exodus finding ZL right off the bat! Where did he go? Did he enter the shop?
I think that was Deku shop, yeah.
Oh my god, okay, well, it's gonna be that kind of beta quest, isn't it? Meanwhile, Sloth has found his way to Kakariko and he's collecting the cuckoos for a bottle. Oh my goodness.
That's actually quite rough. He's the one who needs ZL the most from his goal list. So not having that as early as Exodus is going to be quite the issue, especially if Exodus manages to find the Nehru's Love Load zone pretty quickly, because that means he's going to mark that off quickly, and Sloth's going to go, oh, ZL's somewhere, easy to find.
Exactly.
And then as you go longer and longer without finding it, you get a bit more paranoid or something.
Yeah, and paying attention to which goals your opponent marks off early in the beta quest can, it's a huge tip-off of what your opponent is up to. For instance, if you need to get into Jabu Boomerang and you see them clear all 4 skulls in Jabu, like, within the first 20 minutes, you're thinking, oh, what different route did my opponent take than me that got him to that place?
Absolutely. You've got to keep in mind that, especially with some of the goals, if you can track what they approximately have or are doing, then you have a bit of a better understanding of where you stand in the race itself.
And that only comes with experience on what the goals actually entail. Because you can, yeah, like you said, it's very important to gauge what items your opponent has, whether or not they're a child or adult, because that gives you a sense of how much time you have and what, like, how much time you can sort of, like, not waste, but, like, you can sort of better approximate, like, oh, is it worth it to do this? Do I have enough time to check out these loading zones, or do I need to go straight for goals because, oh no, he obviously has hookshot because they completed so-and-so goal, so...
It's actually also quite interesting with the way the tournament rules work of if you get to the point where you get towards overtime and it looks like that you might be heading into overtime, we have to remember that the person who got the goal, like the last goal as you go into overtime, has a huge disadvantage because they need to actually do something. So it can absolutely be worth to try and chuck off as many goals as you can quickly, so that if your opponent catches up, they're in that position where they have to then do another goal to actually win the match in overtime.
There we go. Exodus picking up ZL here from Impa. Sloth picking up Bugs. bottle one of the most important items in Beta Quest because having contents in a bottle allows you to basically have an ocarina through OI, and that's very important if they pick up a song because Ocarina is a one loading zone find, so, and there are multiple ways into CAC.
Yeah, absolutely. Bottles are absolutely huge in pretty much all Ocarina of Time speedruns, as I'm sure everyone knows. But especially in Beta Quest, where it can be difficult to actually find the Ocarina, being able to play songs is hugely important. For example, Exodus can't actually play ZL right now. He doesn't have a bottle.
Sloth checking a child-only loading zone through the owl here.
Definitely a smart choice. When you are child in Beta Quest, you want to be able to check as many child-exclusive loading zones as you can early, so that when you get the chance to go adult, you don't have to worry about missing any kind of important load zones that you might not have checked.
Shout out to missing loading zones in Market before going adult.
Yep, that is
I've done that a number of times. And Exodus finding his way in front, both players in trials here. The question is, will they go for the choose? Exodus is right outside the door here.
I've just noticed, shout outs to Sloth for not starting his timer on at the right time.
I think that was just stream delay.
It says he's been going for 1:38. I was like, wait a minute.
So Exodus is getting choose, but a Sloth deciding to kill himself in fire trial.
I don't necessarily disagree with that. I think sometimes it can be more important to check loading zones when you have the chance, rather than spend time doing the trying to grab choose, because a lot of the time you don't need choose for probably 20 minutes or so. So it's more than okay to leave them for a while.
Well, it helped that Exodus spawned right outside Spirit Trial, sorry. It's pretty hard not to go for it, or at least be tempted to go for it. And Sloth finds Deku Tree.
That's unfortunate for him. It's a really easy load zone to check.
Getting killed outside of Goma's room. Now,
meanwhile,
yep.
I was going to say Exodus with a very clean Spirit Trial choose. That was very, very nice.
So, what Sloth accomplishes from dying here is that he's about to find out the loading zone of leaving the Goma fight. If he were to regularly save warp out of Deku, he would instead find, right. Sorry for interrupting myself, but Exodus finding a fairy fountain, but unfortunately he does not have a bottle or an ocarina, so we cannot get, magic at this time.
Sloth is found collapse, dying to grab a Master Sword upgrade.
Is Exodus going to do the same here? Maybe after he opens up this door. No, Exodus. Oh, right, because he's at the final collapse area.
Yeah, with the longer one, you generally want to go through the entire thing just to open the gate and stuff.
Because you could spawn at the exit here that Exodus is at, and those bars are in your way from checking a loading zone. And no, Exodus choosing to exit collapse.
I think that's a good choice. He has the Kahiri sword. He doesn't really need a Master Sword at this point in time, so it's more advantageous to check the load zone.
Sloth finds GTG, another one of Exodus's goals.
That's not too bad of a loading zone, if assuming Lon Lon Ranch is easy to find. So it's a bit unfortunate that he happens to be finding all of the goals that Exodus has picked.
And it's only a matter of time before Exodus finds his way over there. Sloth saving in GTG, and after leaving it, dislikes where he's put in field, so he's going to see where entering GTG gives him. It's very common to see players, when they enter in a dungeon, or say an area where save warping would bring them to the beginning of it, save warping and then leaving, and then the next time you are either stuck or dislike where or get to a place where you've already been to before, just hitting reset and starting a new chain of loading zones.
Definitely something that could be really good, especially if you find something really terrible like Ganondorf, because watching that 2-minute cutscene or whatever it happens to be is absolutely terrible. So if you get the chance,
or getting stuck in graveyard during the day,
that's also terrible. I'm pretty sure there's been load zones where leaving graveyard is entering graveyard, and then the entire graveyard is just bad.
Oh my goodness. Well, The worst is combining the two, because I had a Beta Quest blackout once where leaving Graveyard was Ganondorf.
Ugh.
And Sloth finds, Forest Temple. I don't believe either of these two players need Forest Temple.
Not
It
that I
might-
can tell.
It might come in handy to, is it Exodus that has, Spirit Trial?
It is indeed.
Okay, yes. Since you, I don't... Well, he can pick up Ice Arrows in, GTG, so it's not too bad. So I guess he doesn't need Forest Temple at all.
He will need to make sure if he does want to go for the ice arrows that he picks up Ruto's letter to RBA some arrows.
And Sloth finding his way into Domain.
I always like Domain as a load zone because it has a Deku Stick and some Deku Nuts, nice and easy to get, which basically just allows a bit more options when you're exploring.
Sloth finds a loading zone that he needs to find, Death Mountain Trail. He's gonna have to go back here at some point and pick up the Skulltillas. Unfortunately, without explosives, so he can't pick up either one in that area as child.
It's a bit of a disappointment, but he's no doubt making sure he's got good notes on where that is, so that when he does manage to get Choose, he'll be able to get that back later.
Exodus killing himself in Fire Trial here. When you spawn in the trial section from a cutscene of completing a trial, killing yourself would get you the loading zone of completing that trial, shooting the... what is the thing you shoot with a light arrow at the end? It's like, do they actually say what it is? Because it's just like a ball of energy.
Something random. I'm
Yeah,
sure
something random. But the point is, shooting that thing with a light arrow would bring you to a random loading zone, and that's what these players are checking.
Yeah, Trials is definitely one of those areas that is really heavily featured in Beta Quest because it's very common to get to. There's so many load zones into it. It has quite a lot of important goals. A lot of them complete the trials. It has Choose. So it's definitely an area that you'll see a lot.
Yeah, there are, I believe, there's 8 ways to get in there from the entrance, from the Ganon's Tower, and the 6 trials. And Exodus finding Deku Shop, picking up a Deku Shield, very useful item here.
It's definitely why you want to have those rupees on hand. So if you do happen to find these kind of load zones, that gives you the option to buy options. He has the money now.
Getting nuts as well. That's another great reason to have rupees, because if you are unable to find, say, Domain, where you can get a free stick or nuts, or Goron City, shops are your best friend if you have the currency.
Speaking of finding shields, Sloth just finds the grave with the Hylian shield in it, so he now has a shield, and straight into Water Temple as well.
Oh, another loading zone that he actually needs for map and compass later.
Exodus has now found Ocarina, which is a pretty big find all the time. It saves so much time over trying to do Ocarina items for everything, and will basically make it much easier to play songs without having to spend a bit of extra time.
That also means Exodus can now activate fairy fountains, and he might pick up Nehru's Love early here.
I think that would be a huge blow to Sloth if Exodus manages to tick off Nehru's Love in the next 10 minutes or so.
Sloth finding another way into Domain. Exodus needs to go into Domain at some point, because I'm not aware of any strategy to get Ruto's letter without Silver Scale or some kind of diving upgrade.
You can find Fishing Pond and get the Golden Scale upgrade from there, and that.
Well, I meant without a diving upgrade, like, say, Ocarina Dive or Navi Dive or the like.
Yes, I don't believe that works. I'm pretty sure you need to be in the diving animation to actually pick it up.
So Exodus will need to make his way to either, oh goodness. I haven't actually ever seen somebody do fishing minigame during a beta quest.
It's not
Exodus
common.
Finding King Dodongo. Each player is finding their opponent's goals.
Speaking of finding goals, Sloth just happened to find the Lone Carpenter, so that's a really good sign for him for Gerudo card.
And that is the hardest carpenter to find as well, since there is only one way into that room. That's a very important thing to keep in mind when you're drafting goals here, is to keep in mind like how many different ways there are to get into that goal. Say, that's why goals like 20 sticks are incredibly easy. There's so many ways to get the Lost Woods, and all you need is 40 rupees.
Absolutely. It's one of those things where when you're drafting goals, if there's any goals that require one single loading zone, it can be quite risky to take it, because if you don't find the loading zone, you're in trouble.
Stuff like Requiem, stuff like Lon Lon Heart Piece, sometimes 37th Heart Piece, although you can hover up to it if you're desperate.
Yeah, it's not ideal. It's quite a lot of explosives for it, but you could.
You could. Exodus, picking up a bottle here, finally making his way to CAC.
He actually was on the same chain Sloth was on for a bit, and he deviated when he decided he wanted the bottle rather than checking the loading zone to Death Mountain Trail.
Sloth, completing water trial there. And Exodus pretty much on autopilot here.
I'm sure he's done this millions of times.
Oh, I can imagine.
Pretty much every Ocarina of Time runner has done this millions and millions of times.
And Sloth dies. Hey, you can easily rack up like 33 or more deaths over the course of a 3-hour Beta Quest draft.
Oh, absolutely.
Sloth did come across Lost Woods exiting Water Temple, so that might be an excellent route if he's able to exit it when he gets map and compass. Probably not, since you need to save warp out after you get compass, but who knows.
Yeah, it's
maybe he'll pick up Ferora's Wind before there.
Ferora's Wind is actually a really great object to have in Beta Quest if you can find it. It just allows so much more time saved backtracking.
And look at that! Sloth elated to find ZL within the first within the first 12 minutes here.
Yeah. At least according to his timer. 20 minutes otherwise, but yeah.
That was a lovely grin that man had on his face there. Exodus getting his avatar there.
Yep, he's his favorite bottle.
His favorite bottle.
We have to see how much use Sloth can get out of this CL, because he still has to find the magic loading zones and such. So he also needs it for the Shadow Temple keys. So it's very good that he found it early. It's going to make it a lot easier for him to get those goals.
More importantly, he also has a bottle to play ZL. So once he finds those fairy fountains, he can instantly go for it. Exodus getting nice and comfy with the locals here in order to see where exiting Water Temple will give him.
Everyone's favorite Octorok. Everyone knows that the Lake Hylia pad and Lake Hylia, or the Water Temple exit, those load zones just suck in general because they're so far away from everything else.
I do believe there's 4 ways onto that island. You have the defeating Morpha, you have Serenade, you have the end of the defeating Morpha cutscene when the lake water rises, and you have exiting Water Temple. And it's so far removed from everywhere else in the lake. The only real time you're happy to be on the lake pedestal is if it's at night and you have Hylia Skullgulls.
Pretty much. Otherwise it's just terrible, because your choices are, if you're child, you can take the owl or enter the grave, or swim all the way to, say, the fishing pond.
Exodus finding domain from the wrong end, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's a bit of a shame. He would have liked to been able to pick up the silver scale, but looks like he'll have to settle for finding that later.
Exodus checking out where leaving the inside of Ganon's tower will give him.
Leads to the exit of CAC Archery, which is quite interesting, because if you clip out of bounds now, it will actually respawn you in the brickwork, and you can enter the adult archery game as a child. So it'll be interesting to see if that's anything good.
And we'll... Oh! Exodus going to do... No! Exodus instead going to the inside of Bazaar. Interesting.
That's an interesting choice, but it shouldn't really matter too much because you can always enter the adult archery as an adult.
As intended.
Intended percent, yeah.
Sloth nearly at the end of this really long cutscene.
Also important to note that Exodus just found Temple of Time. That's actually quite important because there have been many times in a beta quest where someone has been unable to find Temple of Time and has just been child the entire 3 hours, not able to do anything.
That happened to me once. I found Temple of Time with half an hour left, and that was the most stressful half an hour left of my life because I was like behind a couple of adult-only goals.
Yeah, it's really rough to not be able to find an adult, like the Temple of Time load zone to turn adult until the last half an hour because you have so much left to do and just not enough time to do it.
So Exit is very lucky here. At the beginning of the night in Graveyard, Dompe is out and around, so he can get inside of his hut. Unfortunately, it's not a very good loading zone.
Yeah, it's not ideal.
So Sloth now has nuts. He might decide to go get Choose here. Yes, he will, equipping sticks and... just nuts, sorry.
Let's see if he can do it as cleanly as Exo did.
So far, not so good. Exodus picking up the child-only Skulltilla in front of Colossus here. Getting one of his very few child goals out of the way.
Yeah, it's absolutely something that he may consider just going adult as quick as possible. Maybe check the few loading zones that are child-only like in Market, but other than that, might be worth going adult early.
Sloth mixing up the jump slash to the rupee. Oh, struggling here.
It's not an easy jump, unfortunately. I don't know how many frames it is, maybe 1 or 2, but it can be quite rough if you don't get it in a reasonable time because you just get a bit more frustrated with it as you go along.
He's doing this weird slash setup that I've never seen before.
I don't know who created that setup, but that's the one I use, or at least similar to the one I use, and I think I first saw Runner Guy using it, so knowing Runner Guy, it's from...
Yeah. I've had zero problems just moving the statue into position. I don't even move it outwards, the push that you're supposed to. Just a backflip and then a roll jump slash will just easily get the rupee without any pause buffering, without any slash setup, so... Oh, Sloth really struggling here. Meanwhile, Exodus, loading zone hunting.
We know that entering farm was good for him. I think that was...
And he finds entering milk, gets him Phantom Ganon.
Not exactly the most useful thing for him, but you never know when he might want to use Sun Song in that room and check Phantom Ganon's load zone.
And Sloth just gives up on getting Choose, deciding to die to the Beamos. That's unfortunate.
Yeah, that's not ideal. It's definitely the most annoying thing to have to spend all that time trying to get something and then have to come back later because you screw it up a few times.
However, he does get a fairy fountain out of it, so...
Consolation prize. Maybe it'll be good.
Exodus finding Lake. He's gonna have to travel back there once he gets Silver Scale to get Ruto's letter. That is if he wants to use ice arrows to complete Spirit Trial.
I imagine that's his intention. If he's already in GTG, it makes sense to absolutely grab the ice arrows while you're there and then grab Ruto's letter RBA it rather than go all the way through either trying to find the RBA trade quest areas or the entirety of the forest.
Exodus also picking up the location of the Yellow Carpenter. Sloth would very much like to know that.
Oh, absolutely.
And what is Exodus doing here? Oh, he's damage buffering with a Chew. This is cool. Forgetting that he has Ocarina. Ocarina is a really useful tool in order to help you die quicker in areas where Sun Song is not able to be used in order to reset the area, such as Field, Lake, Colossus.
Absolutely. It looks like he just forgot that he had Ocarina for a bit when he went to equip the letter, because the letter can do the same. It's just a lot slower.
Yeah, anything that is what I guess the term is cutscene item, if I'm not mistaken. Anything that sort of pauses the world and as you hold it up.
Effectively, yeah. Usually, any kind of trade item like Zelda's Letter works, but Ocarina of Time is just, or the Ocarina in general, is just a bit quicker because you don't
Yeah.
have to watch the entire cutscene of Link pulling it out and displaying it to no one.
And Exodus talking to the Great Deku Tree. I actually don't mind getting this Deku Tree loading zone that much, even if you don't have the Kokiri Sword and Shield to get past Mido easily. You can always pick up sticks from the Deku Babas behind you.
Yeah, it's
You need
definitely
'em.
not the worst loading zone that you can find, and entering Deku Tree isn't too bad usually. So it's there are definitely worse loading zones out there that you don't want to find.
Shout out to Ganondorf.
Goddamn Ganondorf.
Exodus finds Blue Carpenter. All that remains is Red Carpenter, I believe, for Sloth.
It
However-
seems to be very much the case of a bingo where everyone finds their opponent's goals and none of their own. So
Yes. Sloth stuck in alley during the day. That always feels bad, because it always seems there's good stuff in the doors that lead to the Bombchu room or that lead into the person's house on the right side.
yeah, having back alley at day always limits your options because you only have 3 load zones instead of the usual 5. So it can be rough to find that during the day.
And I missed what part of Hideout Exodus was at there. If that was Red Carpenter, then Gerudo card is actually incredibly easy.
Looks like a yellow Carpenter again.
Okay. Exodus using an explosive to enter Nehru's love here, but Sloth, an important find for him, finding Death Mountain Crater. He's gonna need to break this box for this easy Skulltilla. And that's a nice thing to get out of the way.
Yeah, that one's usually a bit of a pain because it's difficult to get to from any of the other loading zones. You generally need to find this loading zone in particular or get a ton of hearts so you can survive the climb up the ladder and all the way around.
Shout out to fairies.
All that. On the other hand, it's...
Ooh, sorry to interrupt, but both players finding a very important stuff. Sloth finding DC, but Exodus finding Silver Gauntlets, which Sloth will need to pick up at some point for his Blue Gauntlets goal.
Yeah, I'm absolutely expecting that Sloth, if he can't find it, will at least attempt to do the hover up Colossus. So in that respect, finding that load zone isn't hugely important, but it definitely does help that you don't have to waste all those chews getting up there.
Exactly. Exodus learning Saria's song here. It's interesting to see that there were no song goals on this card.
You make a good point. That is actually
Or
quite interesting.
equipment goals, for that matter. Was there an equipment goal on here? Oh, 3 tunics was on here? No? Well, Goron tunic, and that's about it.
Yeah, it's actually
Which is
quite
very
a fast
interesting.
forward.
Usually there's either an all-equipment goal or the equipment goals are split over 2 goals, but it's interesting to see that only Goron tunic is on there. All you need is an explosive and some way to get into Goron City, and there's a point.
Pretty much. There was definitely one of the smarter first picks by Sloth, because Goron Tunic is relatively simple in terms of the amount of goals on here. Goron Tunic's definitely among the top 3 or 4 that are easy to get.
And this is great for Sloth at the bottom of Death Mountain Crater, getting the final Skulltilla he needs from the crater area. All that remains is the Skulltilla in the Boulder Maze, and heading back to DMT to get the 2 he's missing there, and he's done the required skulls as child.
Yeah, it's definitely good to get the child skulls out the way, just so you don't have to worry about trying to find them again once you're looking to go adult. Otherwise, you spend all this time going back for this one single skull that you forgot, and you waste a ton of time that you could have been doing as adult, doing other goals.
Very smart strategy there from Sloth, getting damaged by the Skulltilla before jumping in the lava, saving a little bit of time, but, you know.
It's actually important to note that with this skull, it can be quite annoying if you accidentally cancel out of the text box, because the bugs take a while to dig. If you get screwed and they either bug glitch or just take forever, you end up dying to the heat timer before the Skulltilla pops out, so you don't get to actually kill it. So what he did was you catch the bugs again, and then you just wait a bit for the bugs to dig while you're sitting there in the bug catch animation, because that doesn't actually progress the heat timer.
I didn't actually know that.
It's
So
quite important if you don't have very much health. If you've only got 1.5, 2 hearts or something, you only get 10, 12 seconds or something in there. So it's really important to make sure that you manage to get the skull before you die from the heat timer.
While we were talking, Sloth picks up Mirror Shield, a very nice item to have, as you can see there showing it off. You can equip Mirror Shield as child because for some reason the ROM hack allows you to.
Yeah, MZX made it, or MZX for all the Americans out there, just calling out there. He allows you to equip Mirror Shield just because it's a bit nicer for you to be able to have that extra shield as child. Getting a shield can be difficult, but also allows Twin Rover as child.
Yeah, and I believe with the addition of being able to equip Mirror Shield, every single boss is defeatable as child.
Yes, I believe that is true.
Shout out to Exo equipping Hammer.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to do that, but you can.
There's a lot of things in OOT you'd rather not to do, but Beta Quest does some weird things to your psyche.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Sloth going for the easier way to get Spirit Trial shoes here.
Yeah, attempt 2.0, but now that he has a shield, he can definitely do the ISG hover off the BMOS.
A bit confused there. Okay, there we go. What? I haven't seen this setup at all. I'm used to seeing the 7 pull.
I have not seen this setup at all either, so who knows?
So, okay. Exodus going for the... I guess he's trying to set up a Navi dive to get to this river loading zone. There we go, and he gets it. I haven't actually seen that Navi dive before. I should learn that.
It's actually quite useful to be able to Navi dive there, just because it's one of those load zones that you can check pretty easily as a child, even if you don't have the silver scale.
And Sloth picking up trial choose here. If the locals don't give him any hassle.
Yeah, it'll definitely be good for Sloth to grab those chews, because now he has the options to go grab those skulls in DMT.
So what goals are we going to see? What goals that each... Okay, if I could speak the English language, please. So what goals do each player need to do in order to, as child, before they can safely progress as adult here? Because Sloth still needs to pick up the DMT skulls, but I think that's about it for him, as well as well skulls, I guess.
Yeah, we've got well skulls and the DMT skulls for Sloth. I don't think there's anything else that requires child unless it's a child-only load zone. Skull Kid can be easier as a child since he has ZL, he just needs to grab Cyrus and then find Lost Woods. Whereas Exodus just has, I believe, the Wasteland Colossus area skulls to do as child.
And he already completed that earlier. I don't believe Exodus has found Wasteland yet. I still have that down as the thing he needs to find.
Yes, I don't believe he has either.
It's always nice to actually take notes now, so that I'm not... So I can actually say with authority they haven't found it yet, but Exodus, finding his way into DC, it's always nice to have bombs in a beta quest.
Absolutely. There's pretty much having that safety of being able to pick up more bombs, whereas bomb chews are much harder to obtain, minus maybe RBA if you find a PO. Having bombs that you can replenish just by cutting bushes is so nice.
Because all you need is a shield, a bomb choose, and a sword in order to do the whole thing. DC is also really nice with Beta Quest because there is a shrub at the back left side of the dungeon there that will sell you a Deku shield, albeit for an inflated price.
Absolutely. If you haven't found a Deku shield, finding DC is huge, because it allows you to get that shield and then also provides you with bombs and any other goals that happen to be in there if you have any.
Sloth using his notes to find his way back to Domain, entering shop, and getting to Death Mountain Trail so he can get these skulls over with.
I think that's a good choice.
What's your position on note-taking in Beta Quest? Like, do you not take notes? Do you take notes quite meticulous notes? Like, how do you do it?
It can definitely depend on what kind of a seed you have, what kind of goals you have. In general, I'm one who doesn't mind either. I understand that some people prefer without notes, some people prefer with. I can do either, but in terms of the tournament setting, you definitely need to have it so that notes are allowed, only because it's so hard to police, you know, people not taking notes or anything.
Yeah, exactly. But I was more saying like how you personally do it.
I generally make a note of, to start with, for the first hour and a half, I'll make notes of pretty much everything. Usually if there's any kind of minor warps in between, like if I find a specific grotto or something I don't care about, I won't mention it. And then towards the later half, where I'm pretty much explored as much as I can, I'll stop taking notes if I find anything new, because it probably won't be important at that point.
Yeah, I'm the exact same way. I actually have notes integrated into my stream layout so that everyone can see like what I'm typing in and stuff. So I'm the exact same way. Usually for the first hour and a half, I'm meticulously recording down like everything, and when it's go time, I only refer to notes if I need to get to a specific place effectively.
It's really interesting to see how a lot of people take notes differently. Some people have Excel spreadsheets, some people use Notepad.
Some people are crazy and don't take notes at all.
Did Sloth did Exodus burn his shield? I
Yep.
think he did, but he'll probably grab the one at the back of the bomb. Yeah, he's not too worried because he can grab the Deku shield at the back of the just after the bombs towards the top of it.
And even if somehow he wasn't able to get that, and I only learned this strat a couple days ago. I absolutely love this damage boost.
This damage boost is great.
The frame window to jump slash after the explosion is nearly impossible to miss. However, Exodus decided to buffer the run, and he gets it.
Yeah, it's definitely a lot easier for me than the Mega Flip. I never really liked the Mega Flip strategy because it requires a bit of buffering to get the right right frames.
Depending on how rough your buffering is, it could definitely actually end up wasting more time than just the simple unbuffered damage boost. But bomb's a very good thing to have in Exodus's arsenal.
It's quite interesting.
Yeah, sorry.
I was going to say, it's quite interesting that the other thing to mention is you can only do the damage buffer if you have more than half a heart. If you only have half a heart, then you're probably going to have to do the Mega Flip strategy and just hope you don't screw it up.
Yeah, exactly. Exodus re-getting his shield. And Sloth finds Spirit Temple. I don't believe either player needs Spirit Temple, but hey, it's a compass if you have ZL.
The interesting thing about Spirit Temple is usually when we talk about dungeons, the items that they need for specific tricks are in the dungeon itself, but with Spirit, because they're on the outside and you can easily hover up, then finding Spirit is much less important than finding any of the other temples which have an actual item in it, for the most part.
I don't know, Spirit Temple is kind of nice to find, especially if you have the some way to kill the Armos in the first child section room, because that does lead to a Deku Shield if you don't have one. And oh, the organ music plays for Sloth. Thank goodness he saved inside of Spirit Temple, so we can go check where entering that gives him.
Yeah, it's never good when you enter a loading zone and you just hear that organ start up.
You hear that cue and you just die inside.
Especially if you don't know where you last saved, because then you're stuck going, did I save? What have I done?
It's not a good conversation to have with yourself. And Exodus finding Forest Temple and probably pausing to mark it down in his notes. I still maintain that he should probably just skip Forest Temple outright, unless he wants to get the bow as an excuse to stay longer in Forest and get the compass. But that is rather a long prospect. So we'll see what he does.
If he can't find enough dungeons to fill out his compass roster, then it's definitely a possibility. But as you mentioned, it's a long compass, it's a long goal getting bow, so he may probably opt to skip it if possible.
Sloth, a 2 in 3 chance of acquiring the first goal in this race here. The green fire denotes that this fairy fountain will give him one of the free fairy spells in the game. All he needs to do is hope that he doesn't get Nehru's love, and that's a point for him.
Yeah, one of the things that a lot of people don't know is not only is the fact that the green flames indicate that it's a fairy spell and not double defense or double magic, but also where the camera angle actually starts when the cutscene plays.
It looks like he's getting Aurora's Wind here. I do believe if the camera angle zooms into the center, it's Din's Fire. If it's from the left, it's Nehru's Love, and if it's from the right, it's Ferrara's Wind. Sloth doing a little happy dance to celebrate the acquisition of, hands down, the best of the 3 fairy spells for Beta Quest.
Absolutely.
That is Ferrara's Wind.
Ferrara's Wind is probably one of the actually more useful items that you can get from the fairies, especially in Beta Quest, because MZX made it so that the Ferrara's Wind spell actually persists throughout adult and child.
So good!
So if you find it's so good. If you find a child load zone that enters like a temple that's child load zone only, the only real way to get in there as adult is to either do some shenanigans with dying entering the load zone, or with Ferrara's Wind.
Ferrara's Wind might come in handy for him when he heads to Shadow Temple and does the Keys Ghoul.
Absolutely. The other thing is, when you're doing long goals, it's very difficult to do some of the goals because they require you to save and exit usually in standard OOT. But with Beta Quest, if you save and save warp, you end up somewhere else, so that doesn't actually work as well.
And Ferrara's Wind will also help with getting map and compass in Water Temple as well, if you can do that in one trip.
Yeah, that's definitely going to be on his mind, because that does save quite a bit of time being able to do everything in one trip rather than 2.
I'm actually, I'm trying to think back to when each goal was picked and the like, because GTG goals and map and compass and Water Temple are huge synergies with one another, because as you're getting GTG keys, you can just pick up ice arrows and get the map out of the way, and all you need to do is get compass.
Definitely saves a lot of time. I believe GTG was picked up pretty quickly.
Yeah, by Exodus.
He also marked Boomerang along with that, so Sloth immediately marks Compass and Water Temple after that, so whether Exodus maybe should have gone for Map and Compass and Water over Boomerang could have been an option, but
and Sloth, sorry to interrupt, but I'd say Hookshot is a very important item for these two individuals' goals, and it's as easy as entering the right alley and mark it.
That's quite interesting, because if Exodus has done all of his child goals and decides to go adult early, if he hasn't entered that area, then he's going to be without Hookshot, which could be quite devastating if he doesn't want to.
Well, I believe exiting Grave also takes you to alley from right, so if you were to exit Grave and then kill yourself, you would also get Hookshot.
That is true. There's definitely ways to do it, but it's definitely going to be a lot harder if he gets to that point where he's adult without it.
Exactly.
Sloth getting hit by all the fire in this round.
Poor guy. Here's a very interesting thing that I really enjoy doing. I know Exodus is going to try and super slide through the rocks here, but I for note-taking purposes, really like killing myself outside of fairy fountains, because that way I can easily narrow down. Say if I already have on my notes Fairy Fountain 2 leaving gets me Death Mountain Trail from DC. If I kill myself outside of Ferrara's Wind and I'm brought to Death Mountain Trail from DC, I can put it in my notes that that is indeed Ferrara's Wind, and that might be a goal I have.
Yeah, that's definitely a key point to knowing where Fairy Fountains lead, and when you come out of Fairy Fountains, if you die, it allows you to kind of pinpoint which Fairy Fountains are which.
Yep.
On the other hand, the amount of times I've had a good load zone behind double magic is so many, and it's just something that I'm picking. So
I'm like that with entering Zora Shop. I've had 3 different beta quests now where entering that Zora Shop brought me to ZL. I'm now like paranoid about it.
One thing that's also really interesting is if you've ever played more than one beta quest in a row, all the load zones start bleeding together, and you get very paranoid that you're like, was that in this round or last round that this load zone leads to this place?
Maybe it's because of my note-taking, but I've never really had that issue. But I can definitely see some people struggle with it. Or it's not out of the realm of my imagination, I should say. And, man, nothing is more agonizing in Beta Quest than trying to kill yourself using levers, because I think Keymaker brought this up last time I was on commentary, but those things smell when you're trying to actively die, and they will do everything in their will to miss you, or either just not spawn.
The amount of times I've spawned on the pad and been like, do I really want to waste like 3 bombs just to kill myself rather than use the levers?
Exodus picking up Requiem of Spirit.
It's interesting that now that the new version of Beta Quest has been released and that doesn't Requiem doesn't crash anymore, it's much less of an issue for people to actually get Requiem, because the amount of times beforehand when Requiem just would crash randomly if it encountered a specific load zone, you'd get Requiem and then you'd crash and you'd lose all your progress, have to reset. It was a nightmare.
A very interesting thing to happen in my winners bracket round 1 match against Tob is that the end of his Zelda's Lullaby cutscene crashed his emulator, and he had to do the cutscene skip in order to learn it. So I don't know what's up with that, but I hope it was a freak occurrence.
Yeah, no, that's something that I haven't heard of before, so hopefully it is a good occurrence.
It's always nice to have a warp song, especially with Ocarina, because playing Requiem to get out of a bad situation is a lot faster than save warping.
Especially if the load zone is good. If it takes you to a massive hub like Kakariko or Guru's Fortress
it
or
always
something.
feels good.
Yeah.
Is he gonna decide to play it? Is he gonna decide to check out another Kakariko loading zone? And Sloth approaching another fairy fountain. Could this be an easy 2-point lead here?
Be interesting to see if it pays off.
Exodus finds Meadow. That'll be important for him when he needs to learn Minuet later.
Yeah, it's definitely something he'll be keeping an eye on just in case. Making sure that he knows exactly where that is.
In my notes here, I'm noting that Sloth needs to find a significantly less amount of loading zones than Exodus does.
I think that's probably his draft strategy of get lucky with the single load zones with quick goals. So I think that's probably going to pay dividends if he can manage to find all of those single loading zones. Whereas Exodus has quite a lot of long goals. Free all the Gorons. Defeat Twin Rover sucks in terms of time. So if he can manage to find all of those load zones, he still has to spend a lot of time actually doing the goal.
And with Din's Fire being added to Sloth's inventory, that is his second point of this match.
Seems luck is with him currently, managing to find both of the spells he needs within the first hour or so.
Oh, is Exodus gonna remember to unequip his shield? Oh, it doesn't look like it, and Exodus' shield is now gone.
I don't think he has another shield that he can equip, unless I'm mistaken. So it might be that he just sacrificed the shield to be able to check the loading zone and hope he'll find another one later. Speaking of which.
Hey, look at that. Out with the old, in with the new.
Nice and shiny.
That'll come in handy for Spirit Trial later.
Maybe he knew. Maybe
he knew.
Mind game.
Maybe he knew.
Still, that's actually very important for him because now he can defeat Twin Rover.
And Spirit Trial.
And Spirit Trial. You alright?
So that was a very good pickup for Exo. Exodus still needs to find several key loading zones. He still needs to find GTG for the keys and perhaps ice arrows. He still needs to find Deku Tree, and that is a very unfortunate thing for him to lose. Without Deku Shield, he is unable to get the Fairy Slingshot, so he at some point needs to pick up another one.
That is a good point. Yeah, you cannot actually reflect the nut back at the Deku Scrub with the Mirror Shield. It just breaks on impact. And
Sloth picking up the final Skulltula he needs from the Death Mountain area here, going through the Boulder Maze with Choose.
Meanwhile, Exodus just found Fire Temple, which he'll no doubt be keen to keep track of.
That'll be very important for him. Probably his longest goal on his chosen goals.
I would imagine so, in terms of actually...
that's why he chose it dead last. I actually probably would have picked 9 hearts over free Gorons, but I'm not as experienced, so maybe Exo has a plan.
It would be interesting to know how much time 9 Hearts would waste compared to Free All Gorons, simply for the fact that dying becomes much harder with 9 Hearts, so you'd actually lose a lot of time throughout the run, rather than as one big chunk that you'd lose it from 5 Gorons.
But on the flip side, 9 Hearts is a very flexible goal. You can either defeat bosses, there's numerous amounts of heart pieces you can pick up over your adventures over Hyrule. It really depends on what you're... Oh, sorry to interrupt myself, but Sloth finding Shadow Temple. Although I don't believe he needs hover boots for any of his goals, it'll definitely come in real handy.
Well, he'll definitely need it for obtain all 5 gold keys in Shadow Temple, probably.
Oh,
so...
that would help. Don't mind me.
So doing a Chew Mega Flip to get across the gap, that'll allow him to grab the hover boots as child, so that when he goes adult, he'll have them immediately and doesn't have to come back.
Plus, they help out with a bunch of other goals and loading zone checking.
Absolutely.
For instance, finding where entering double defense gets you. That always seems to be a really interesting loading zone. It was the worst once entering double defense was bottom of the well.
Ugh.
Yeah, exactly. And guess who needed to do skulls that draft?
Yeah, that's always awkward. It's quite interesting that there are some goals that are supposedly child only, but you can definitely get around with other ways. For example, the Lon heart piece at the back, you can actually get as adult with a hover boots and a recoil. But bottom of the well is definitely one that you don't want to have, and then only find its adult only load zone, because it just becomes impossible.
Then you'll need to find the double defense Fairy Fountain, and then either kill yourself or use Sun Song. And speaking of Sun Song, neither player finding it just yet.
Definitely can be elusive, Sun Song. It's always one of those things that either you seem to find it every 4 minutes in, or you don't find it until 2.5 hours in, in which case you're like, well, this is useless now.
To explain, Sun Song is a very useful thing to have in Beta Quest. In areas where time does not pass normally, say Kakariko, Fortress, DMC, using Sun Songs will reset the area and help you discover new loading zones because of that. Since if you answer Kakariko from the Skull House, playing Sun Song to reset the area will bring you the random loading zone from inside of Skull House would bring you.
Sloth casting Pharaohs in Shadow Temple. That way, when he goes adult, he can immediately find any other dungeon that he's found and Pharaohs back to Shadow, so it'll save him a lot of time trying to re-find it.
Sloth has hookshot, so he could 100% the moment he goes adult, find a dungeon, immediately class Aurora's Wind, and get possibly one of his longer goals that he drafted out of the way.
It's definitely one of the longer ones. Obtaining all 5 small keys in Shadow Temple is definitely one that's made much easier with Pharaohs, because you can do the first half of the dungeon, Pharaohs back to the start, and then clip through the fence to the gate, and that saves quite a bit of time.
Exodus right in front of the sword here in Temple of Time. Exodus still needs to pick up Rudo's letter if he wants to fill all 4 bottle slots the easy way.
Yeah, the other option is, because he's getting Nehru's love, that'll
exactly.
You know, he can definitely do it that way if you prefer, but we'll see what he plans to do. Looks like he's going to head out front and leave the Master Sword for another time.
No, instead, it looks like he's going to void out and kill himself on purpose.
That's actually an interesting choice, because the Master Sword warp that he found is actually quite difficult to check in Beta Quest, simply for the fact that it just means you need to go back in time, which requires quite a lot of stuff.
Phantom Ganon, skipping a bunch of cutscenes, you need hover boots to get back into the chamber in the first place. Not a very fun prospect.
Yeah, it's not ideal.
And
I'm gonna be right back, sorry.
finds the final red carpenter, I believe.
Nice. Hold down the phone. I'm going to be right back. 1 sec.
Alright, so Sloth finding the red carpenter. Between both players' notes, every carpenter has been found, but I believe this is Sloth's second carpenter he found. Near the beginning of the race, he found final carpenter, as I like to call it, the carpenter that there's only one way to get in it. He's in a little danger here, because I've actually done this fight before, not paid attention to where I am in the room, and just walked out of the fight. That's embarrassing, but thankfully Sloth a better person than I am. Grabbing the key here, and this will be the first carpenter he's freed. And whoa, Exodus finding Jabu. Very important goal for him. He's about to pick up Boomerang here. So, I guess we know what Exodus is going to be doing for the next 3.5 minutes. Sloth exiting here and finding silver gauntlets. Here we go. Another goal Sloth needs back-to-back. With silver gauntlets in his possession, all he needs to do was go adults, RVA, pocket Coco, and that's another point for him. We'll have to see where the end of Silver Gauntlets randomly takes him. Not much to talk about for a little while here, as both players are sort of on autopilot right now. Sloth in a cutscene, Exodus going through Jabu. So Exodus bringing Rudo through the bowels of Jabu here. And we're about to see where the end of Silver Gauntlet's cutscene takes Sloth. Is it something good? Is it something great? It's Dodongo's Cavern. I do not believe Sloth has bombs yet, and he's coming from King Dodongo's room. So all he needs to do is get ISG off this BMOS and hover up the skull and free bombs. So that's excellent for him.
I returned.
Exodus about halfway through Jabu. While you were gone, Sloth found DC from King Dodongo's room, so right now he's getting ISG off the BMOS and hovering up the skull for easy bombs. Exodus on autopilot. And he gets it, flipping on the skull.
The classic Jabu. Everyone hates Jabu. It's just so long and so boring, because you carry Ruto around for ages.
Yeah, if there was some way that you could... Oh,
no! Oh, dear.
Exodus, doing a dramatic recreation of my last Child Dungeons run.
Yeah, it's really rough to have that happen to you, because it just wastes so much time waiting for the elevator to go back up, come back down and stuff.
And Sloth adds bombs to his inventory, a very nice addition indeed.
I actually get very paranoid with the Octorok and Jabu half the time, and I basically get used to counting exactly when the elevator's going to arrive so I can jump onto it just after he fires, so that way he disappears before he gets a chance to shoot another.
It's always nice to see how people kill time during that segment. I like dropping Rudo in a way so that it destroys the Octorok's projectiles before they hit you.
Yeah.
Exodus making his way to the boomerang room.
Not apart from the goal itself, it's actually not going to be too useful to him. So there's not really much use of it to him after he's gotten it.
So if I were Sloth, I'd try to make my way to Lost Woods as soon as possible for defeat a Skull Kid. That goal very easily completable. However, I do believe you need to store a low damage attack on ISG in order to kill him effectively, if I remember correctly, as Child.
Yeah, the way it works is you cannot slash your sword or any kind of weapon once you enter the area. If you slash your sword or anything, then it doesn't actually kill him instantly when you pull out ISG next to him. So you have to make sure that you do not slash your sword or anything when you enter the Lost Wood loading zone.
Thank you. Exodus picking up Boomerang, and the question is, will he go to Baronade's room or will he exit Jabu normally? He doesn't have... neither player has Sun Song, so it might be a... it might pay off if he goes to enter Jabu. We'll see. Sloth voiding out in Kakariko to see where entering the adult archery gets him. And it's gonna get him to field.
What a useless load zone, really?
Exodus looks like he's gonna leave Jabu normally.
I think that's a good choice, because it's more difficult in a way to leave Jabu, especially because he'd have to come back, whereas Baronade, if you find Sun Song, you can Sun Song a bit easier.
Yeah, he did find Baronade earlier, and Exodus getting back to Deku Shop to replace his burnt Deku shield. Now he's equipped and ready to go once he finds Deku. for that fairy slingshot.
It's interesting to see that he actually has both fairy slingshot and boomerang, both child dungeon items. Well, bombs, obviously, but that's kind of a given. Sloth checking the valley waterfall exit, just to see where
And
that
he finds the left side of Yellow Carpenter. That means all Sloth needs to find is the blue Carpenter, and the Gerudo card is his.
That's actually really nice, because the Gerudo card would be on his mind as one of the harder ones to find, because having to find all 4 loading zones, plus the fact that one of them is a single loading zone only, having that out the way is huge for him.
Yeah, it's very interesting. You need to find 4 different loading zones for Gerudo's card, but in my past histories with Beta Quest, Gerudo's card seems to be, it just tends to just fall in your lap. One way or another.
It'll be interesting to see whether he can manage to find that relatively quickly, because it's always nice to have it out the way and done before heading into the more meatier goals that spend more time doing it.
Yeah, especially Shadow Keys. Another very important thing that Sloth needs to find is he needs to find the House of Skulltula in order to get a wallet upgrade. Because the best way to get Giant's Wallet is to bank 10 gold Skulltulas, RBA Pocket Cocoa for that wallet upgrade, and then talk to the first broken cursed person to get a wallet upgrade, and they'll give you the Giant's Wallet.
Fun fact, if you do that, and then you talk to the person who give you the Giant's Wallet, he then gives you the Adult's Wallet again, and then you get stuck with that.
Huh.
Because I'm pretty sure the way it was programmed was, the game checks if you have the adult wallet. If you have the adult wallet, it gives you the Giant's Wallet. If you don't have the adult's wallet, it gives you the adult's wallet. So when it checks, the game goes...
It assumes that you have normal wallet or adult's wallet. It never checked. Okay, yeah.
Which is really interesting, because you can then obviously lock yourself out and be like, oh, I can't 100% this game anymore.
Exodus buffering the Mega Flip here in order to get over the first gap to get himself some hover boots.
Looks like he missed the frame. Yep.
Rip.
I must say, I absolutely hate Chew Mega Flips compared to Bomb Mega Flips. I'm so much better with a Bomb Mega Flip than a Chew Mega Flip.
Exactly. So I did mark down that Exodus needs hover boots, trying to remind myself why.
Forest Trial is definitely helpful.
Thank you, Forest Trial.
I don't know if you actually officially need them or not. I don't remember the exact strat, but I'm you probably could do it without them. Actually, maybe not. Is there any floating ones? I can't remember the exact layout of the room.
Yeah, I'm very rusty on my trials goals. The only one I routinely complete is Spirit and Shadow. Says those always are the 2 that show up on blackout cards. RG says you can do it without them glitchless used to. Alright.
RG providing all the knowledge bombs here.
So all you need is a way to light the torch then, and then you can get past that first room.
Yeah.
Does Exodus have a way to light that first torch?
He'll need dins or fire arrows. Is the likely one to do. So he can either grab fire arrows because he'll have bow RBA, so shoot the sun, then hover over, or he can just hope he finds dins on the way to finding Nehru's.
And there we go, hover boots being added to Exodus's inventory. Looks like he's going to be making his way back to the dungeon entrance to see where leaving normally gets him.
If he can find the way out.
Actually, is he going to stay longer and get Compass as child?
He absolutely will get Compass as child, I think. If he's needing 6 compasses and he's here, there's no reason not to. He'll grab the ISG. Or not. I don't know if he's hoping that
Is he just YOLOing it?
Let's find out. Maybe you know something I don't.
He's pause buffering. Oh!
He's gonna go buy a stick from a bomb. Interesting.
Right, because it only checks to see if it's the correct one if you step away from it.
Yes, yeah, because it obviously...
Interesting. Usually whenever I do ISG Truth Spinner, I always get it from the sign, but I guess this is technically faster. Oh, Sloth! I completely missed! We're watching Exodus do Shadow Temple, but meanwhile Sloth has killed King Dodongo.
I usually grab from the sign as well, just because it's just easier and you don't need bombs. But I always forget that if you then get ISG before checking the Truth Spinner, the block that says, you know, make sure you don't fall down to your death or whatever, it cancels your ISG, and you're like, oh, whoops.
Zello, both players have Zelda's Lullaby. But yeah, Sloth taking down King Dodongo, increasing his lead to 2 goals here. Sloth doing very well in the opening bit here, but...
It's definitely showing that his strategy of picking the single load zones that are quick and easy to do is starting to pay off. The question is whether he can keep this up over the course of the entire run, because if he gets to the point where he can't find any of the loading zones that he needs,
it's game over.
It's gonna be in trouble.
Exodus fighting the Gibdo here for the Shadow Compass. It's kind of great. Exodus found ZL, what was it, 2nd loading zone?
It was very quick. It was in the first minute, I think.
He did his Rupee route at Kokiri Forest, entered shop and immediately found ZL.
Yeah, it was absolutely insane.
I believe that's like the 3rd beta quest I've seen ZL be the 2nd loading zone. I started a beta quest once in Field from an opponent escape, and killing myself brought me to ZL. My opponent didn't find it for the entirety of the race, so I was feeling good about that one.
Gee. We've had a couple of cases where the opening load zone is ZL. When you spawn in, you're right. Oh, okay, ZL.
I have not had that happen to me yet, but it's only a matter of time.
It is quite rare, because it's obviously one loading zone out of hundreds, but every time it does happen, everyone always gets a good laugh out of it, because everyone starts and they're like, oh.
Do you want to check the first loading zone? Yeah, you just start out and you just leave.
You're just like, I don't need this.
And there it is, the final Carpenter that Sloth needs. All he needs to do is find his way back to the first green Carpenter he found, and that's another goal. Sloth doing amazingly here. Exodus finding his way into Domain finally. He needs to pick up Silver Scale to get Rudo's letter. Which will be nice if he finds GTG, gets Ice Arrows, RBA's Rudo's letter, and he can do Spirit Trial. He has Mirror Shield, so after he does that and finds GTG, hopefully, that's a free goal.
It's one of those things where I think Exodus has found a lot of the areas that he needs for his goals. Sloth still needs to find Bottom of the Well and the Skull House, especially. Because if he doesn't find those are 2 goals that he can't possibly do.
Oh, sorry.
Interesting animation there by Exodus tried to jump off.
So it seems that Sloth is in a really good position here against Exodus.
Meanwhile, Duke killing the hype in the chat.
Exodus, just got Silver Scale, getting a little turnaround there, but finally making his way over to Rudo's letter.
It's really nice for him, because that means basically he should be free to go adult as soon as he'd like now. The question is how long he'll wait before doing that, if he wants to check some specific load zones, or whether he'll just say, I'm hoping that they won't be in child load zones, and just go for it.
Looks like he's gonna freestyle swim over to fishing.
Yeah, swimming to fishing always feels so bad.
I know.
It's so far away.
Sloth also running around and desperately trying to look for loading zones. And he finds another way into Domain.
Ugh. Yet another loading zone that doesn't feel good when you find it is Exiting Shadow, because you're in Graveyard, which can be rough if it's J-Time as Child, but also it's so far away from the rest of the Graveyard, you have to walk all the way there. Exodus deciding to kill himself.
Can you seam walk up there as Child and check the loading zone through? Oh yeah, because you have to ledge clip. Never mind.
Yeah. Finds Potion Shop. Not exactly useful in this beta quest, but
Shout out to Blue Potion as a beta quest goal.
It's not fun. The worst part is trying to find your way back there when you have the timer and you're frantically trying to figure out what the best route is from wherever you happen to be to the Blue Potion Shop.
Also, shout out to Spooky Mask.
Yeah, that one also is pretty bad. I did tell Sloth if it was on the board, he had to pick Quiver 50.
He had to.
I don't think he would have paid attention to that, but you know.
Nobody picks Quiver 50.
A good reason for that, though. Quiver 50 is so bad.
Yeah, when we're talking about always prioritizing goals that you don't need a lot of prerequisites for, don't require a lot of loading zones, Quiver 50 is a great example to point to. You need the 4 Carpenters, you need Castle, you need Lon Lon so you can learn Opponent's Song, and then you need to know where Fort is, and then after Fort, you need to actually do the minigame twice, and after you complete the minigame, you're teleported to something completely weird, and you need to route back to Fort. The point is, it's not a fun time.
Whenever I see Quiver 50 on the board, it's just like, well, I know what the Dead Square is going to be. Because no one ever picks it. I think everyone pretty much unilaterally agrees that Quiver 50 is the worst beta quest girl.
Nothing really tops it in terms of how outlandishly awful it is. Oh, right, you also need to go to Forest and get bow, or some sort of quiver. That's another thing.
Yeah.
Also, you need to get the gallery so you can get Quiver 40. I think we've said enough.
It's not good. I think the only other goal that he's even close to being not picked as much is 5 Water Temple Skulls.
I will defend Water Temple Skulls. I like Water Temple. It's long and arduous, and I can understand why people won't pick it, but I'm not complaining if I get stuck with it.
Water Temple
there are many more worse goals.
Absolutely. It kind of depends. I think a lot of people don't like the fact that, especially in beta quests, it's often a lot of trips because you kind of have to. If you don't have everything you need, you have to do a lot of backtracking through areas.
Ferrara's Wind is a definite plus.
Exodus checking the back entrance of Potion Shop in CAC.
Get some market for his trouble.
Finds Bongo, which is not exactly useful.
Yeah, neither player taking the Hearts goal in this draft, so bosses are of little meaning. Unfortunately, Exodus is without Sun Song. If you can OI in boss chambers and play Sun Song and figure out where entering the boss chamber gets you, because that is a loading zone that is randomized. And 10 out of 10 times it contains some boss room contains something juicy.
Shoutouts to who was it? I think it was Bonaru, who did boat skip to enter Bongo's room, and it was ZL.
I've been told about that. That was during a 2v2 match, no?
Yeah, it was a 2v2 match, and it was the most hype thing. We're like, oh, we're trying to explain that he's doing boat skip, and it's really difficult to try and commentate boat skip because it all happens so quickly. And you're like, okay, they're doing this to do this, and so on and so forth. And then it's just ZL, and where everyone's just like, ah.
The most worth boat skip of all time.
Oh,
Sloth
absolutely.
being trapped in Fortress from the Quiver 50 minigame we were just talking about.
Yeah, getting the Quiver 50.
Very excellent damage buffering from Sloth there. It'd be very nice for Sloth to come across bottom of the well here. It'd be very nice for Exodus to come across GTG here as well.
Absolutely. I believe Sloth found GTG earlier, if I remember correctly. It was in Lon Lon Ranch,
yes.
if I recall.
Lon Lon Ranch to Milk, no?
Milk was the other one. I think it was Barn. I thought milk
Oh,
was
okay.
something else that Exodus found, and he was kind of I was looking at him, and I remember being like, if he goes to the barn, he'll find something, and then he didn't.
Exodus finding water temple. That might be a compass he wants to pick up in the near future.
Absolutely.
Since it is very free and easy.
When he gets when he becomes adult, he might want to head back there and just grab that compass, because it's maybe a 45-second compass that you can grab pretty quickly.
It rivals bottom of the well for easiest compass to get, I think.
Yeah.
Deku, I guess, maybe.
DC's pretty quick as well.
What we're trying to say is all compasses are not created equal.
Absolutely. Whenever you look at the compass.
Shout out to Forest Temple and oh, what's the other one that's stupid? Like Fire Temple is also a really long one.
Jabba is the other one that is
Jabba.
really not
oh,
really
yeah,
done.
Exactly.
Usually, I think when you get the 7 compasses goal, you generally never do fire, never do forest, and never do Jabba unless you're in there and having to do other things in there.
Sloth is in woods here. He's making his way over to the Skull Child, and he's going to be serenading him with Saria's song.
And also death. Must be quite demoralizing to be like, oh, you know, Saria's song. Let's be friends. Okay, yeah, that sounds great. But
Look, he's just singing his song. Everything's happy. And he kills them. Sloth with a 3-goal lead. Here with a little over an hour in. Well, actually, we're nearly hitting halfway point here.
Yeah, Sloth's definitely got to be happy with where he's sitting at currently with the goal situation. Having that that goal lead early is really nice to have.
Would you say that he'd be really happy about it? Both players resetting here. Or not resetting, sorry. Exodus is dying. Sloth is resetting. So, what does Exodus need to do if he wants to get out of this point deficit he has? It's still only a 2-goal lead. It's not too much, but
he's not going to be. I don't think Exodus is necessarily going to have too much of a concern that he's currently behind. He's aware that the goals that Sloth is doing are the quick goals that do rely on a bit of luck, the Pharaohs and Dins and such. So I think he's more than happy to realize that those goals can be done relatively quickly if you get lucky, and it's more of just a case of realizing that, sure, your opponent got lucky, but you have to continue doing your goals.
And speaking about continue doing your goals, we're doing Wasteland at Night as Child, going to that going to the Poe Shack, or what would you call that? Like that house where the Skulltula is. And it looks like Exodus does have boomerangs, so no fancy hovers or anything. Getting the skull. I hesitate to use the word as intended because he's Wasteland as Child, but you get the point.
Yeah.
As intended.
I mean, theoretically, you can head there from Colossus.
I have it down as Exodus not having hookshot yet.
I do not believe he has. I don't think he's found it yet.
He still needs to pick that up, but after he does, it's just one trip of Colossus away, and he has all 4 skulls.
Worst comes to worst, actually, I don't know his situation in terms of items and stuff, but he could technically use Boomerang as adult and get him that way. We just have to make sure that he has the right equipment slots built for that.
Sloth picking up the Green Carpenter here, and I believe he has 1 more left? No, he has them all! I lied, there we go.
Yeah, it's definitely nice to get that one out the way for him. That's going to be quite good for him.
Sloth doing incredible in this early game. So far, in all the matches I've commentated here on ZSR during the Beta Quest tourney, we've basically seen the same pattern throughout all the races. The first hour, not a whole lot of goals get done. Maybe one or two luck-based goals, but mostly players running around from loading zone to loading zone, marking down maybe future goals. Second hour is when you get to see players transitioning from note-taking to a kind of goat time. You might see longer goals like maybe some easier skull goals, maybe some fairy fountain goals. But it's the last hour that you'll really see both players get to work here. And Sloth with a big lead going into the... we're 15 minutes away from the halfway mark. And it looks like Sloth is going adult.
Yeah, it's definitely got the option there now. I think he's got everything he needs as child, minus bottom of the well. So he'll be leaving that and hoping that he either doesn't need it in terms of goal list and he can just win without it, or if he really needs to, he probably has enough stuff to go back into a second child phase.
Sloth is also missing House of Skulltilla as well, but that is not as big of a deal of missing.
He's also missing dot skip, so you know.
That'll come with time, though. There we go. Pun intended. I'm wondering what Exodus is still doing as child here. He does. I don't believe Exodus has picked up a Hylian shield, so he has no way of getting Fairy Slingshot as adult currently. Oh man, I hate this clip so much. Oh my god. Sorry.
So good.
Exodus trying to clip into the Goron City statue to check this loading zone as child, and demonstrating why I hate this clip so much.
This trick is so much easier with bombs, and I'm surprised he's not using a bomb version of it. Maybe he's just used to having chews only for bingos and stuff, because a lot of the time you might only have chews rather than bombs.
He gets it. Third try.
And
he gets back to Goron City. Oh.
What an amazing load zone that was.
What a great use of public resources. Sloth almost... And he finds Morpha for his trouble. That'd be great if he had hard goal.
It's true. It'll be interesting to see what happens, what Sloth goes for first, because he's got everything but bottom of the well and the skull house. He knows where everything pretty much is, so he's pretty much good to go for the last five goals or so.
Exodus
finding GGG.
A big find for Exodus. Not only will he get his goal of 3 GTG keys, Ice Arrows will also come in handy. He has Rudo's letter, so he can RBA that and get Spirit Trial out of the way. In fact, I'm pretty sure... Oh!
Well, that's not good.
Sword to the back kills off Exodus. I believe... oh, wait, no, you can't, because if you use a bow as child, it's seeds, and you can't light seeds on fire to burn the web. Never mind.
Yeah,
I was gonna ask if it was possible to do Spirit Trial as child.
It's interesting that at the very least he knows where that is, so he can go back at any point. But it is a bit of a blow to lose that now, because it's just time wasted that he could have been doing other things.
And Exo, of course, on the back foot here, he needs to really get goals done left, right, and center to get back into this game. Sloth with a big lead right now.
Speaking of Sloth, he is now in GTG himself, getting what looks to be Ice Arrows, probably to RBA the Water Temple map. That way the compass is much easier to get than the map.
Interesting, since he does have Aurora's Wind.
Looks like he missed the weird shot.
But I guess he can also get Water Temple boss key if he wants to check inside of Morpha's room easier, but who knows? Exodus back in GTG.
Going the other side this time.
He only needs 3 keys, so he doesn't have to be here for long.
Yeah, I'm it's always interesting to see which keys people go for when they only need a few, because a lot of people go through different routes through GTG. Some people get the Stalfos key, some people skip it.
I get the Stalfos key just because I really enjoy fighting Stalfos. That's about it.
You'll grab 2 here, probably grab some extra juice from the chest, clip through the ice arrows, then probably clip through to the climb chest.
I don't know. Maybe I'll save those chews by going the long way and go back to Stalfos. I guess not. Oh, right, because he needs dice arrows. Never mind. Forget exactly what I'm saying.
It'll kind of depend. He can either go back and do the Stalfos, but I think the clip through the climb chest would be slightly quicker, but at the cost of a chew.
Sloth talking to the cuckoo lady for the start of the adult fighting sequence here. Once he hatches that egg, he'll RBA it for a wallet upgrade and strength.
Yep, that's definitely gonna tick off the blue
That's a
gauntlet.
2-for-1 combo meal.
It's going to be interesting though, because as soon as he marks that goal, Exodus is going to know that Sloth is an adult. That actually provides him a bit of information of he can't possibly do the bottom of the wells unless he goes child again. So it'll be a bit of a relief to him that Sloth has kind of locked himself out of a goal until he goes back child.
It's interesting to know as well that Exodus is also really close to getting 4 bottle slots. Forest Trial is very easy to do. He just needs to head back to Colossus after finding Hookshot eventually. That's the goal. The moment he finds Twin Rova, that's completable. So Exodus is probably not into as bad of a spot as we're making it out to be.
Yeah, I'm actually considering in terms of what Exodus can do from this point onwards. We know Sloth can finish 5 of his 7 goals, and it'll just depend on whether Exodus can find, for example, Nehru's Love and Twin Rover, I think will come down to.
Yep. And is this fairy fountain going to be, is it going to be the Nehru's Love he needs?
I don't remember where any of the other 2 were, so I don't know what loading zone they were. And there it is.
And it's Nehru's Love.
Speak of the devil, that makes 4 bottle slots. Well, 4 bottle slots are easy because you already
Well,
got
he already has
what you
Nehru's
call it.
Love, so...
Just needs to find trials.
Sorry, Rudo's letter. A bit of that. And Sloth doing the RBA here. For a 3rd bottle. Are also RBAing ice arrows here. And there you go. That'll give him map and boss key.
And then he just has to wait the daytime for the egg to hatch. I wonder if he'll do it now or whether he'll just go about doing his stuff and just RBA again later.
It is turning dusk. Doing a little dance to pass the time. Exodus fighting Ice Cavern. This is a very easy compass to pick up.
Absolutely. This is actually quite good for Exodus because it's one of those compasses that's relatively quick and easy to get. And
it's just a clip followed by a ledge cancel. Shout out to Short Bingos.
Meanwhile, Sloth getting bored.
Yeah, not much to talk about at present. Exodus just making his way through Ice Cavern. Sloth doing a gymnastics routine here.
I like the reverse camera though. That's nice.
It's too bad that time doesn't pass when you're playing the Ocarina, because then he might serenade us with a great concert.
Yeah, only. He might do a Ben Stevens, forget the piece though.
Oh my god, Exodus, pause buffering is cancer on emulator. Oh my goodness.
It's
Gets
so bad.
through, though.
This is why I avoid any trick that has buffering in it.
Fair enough.
It's just like, I need to learn weird shots. What are the frames? I don't care. I'm just going to do it unbuffed.
There we go, using the momentum from the bomb explosion to knock him into the radius of the chest opening prompt, and Exodus adds another compass to his inventory. I believe this is his third compass? He has Jabu, he has Ice Cavern, he has DC. Once he heads back to Deku, Shadow, so that'll be 5 if he ends up going to Deku. Not in bad shape with his compass goal.
6 compasses actually isn't too bad in terms of trying to find, because a lot of them are actually quick and easy. It's mainly just having to actually find the load zones.
Compasses, of course, are worse than maps, however, because you can RBA. You can RBA 4 maps, but compasses, on the other hand, you have to actually physically get them. Sloth RBAing Pocket Coco, giving himself stylish blue gauntlets that are really in season right now. Gets himself a goal, increases his lead even further.
I really like the colored gauntlets as a. I have no idea why that works in terms of the code and why they're like, well, let's just make it colored or whatever. But you know, it's always one of those things that just makes you feel cool having colored gauntlets, being like, I broke the game.
Shout out to Hylian Shield, Zora Tunic, and the Blue Gaunts. And there we go, Exodus making his way into Deku. This is big for Exodus.
When you say Zora Tunic, you need bad tunic, right?
Pardon? Bad tunic? I will fight you.
Just putting it out there.
I will fight
honestly, the Zora tunic is the coolest of the tunics in terms of effect, but in Ocarina of Time it looks terrible. Like, that blue is just...
I like the blue. I like that navy sort of skyish blue. Then again, if these players hold C up, or sorry, like up on the D-pad as well as the C button when going through loading zones, they can change the color of the Kokiri tunic. That's a little Easter egg in Beta Quest. Shout out to White Tunic. It looks the best on Link.
I like all the tunics. I know Manu likes playing with purple. There's also like black and orange.
We're discussing tunic colors rather than what's going on, because what is there to commentate? We got a cutscene going on the right, and we have Deku Tree Autopilot on the left.
The most exciting parts of Ocarina of Time. Cutscenes and Deku Tree. Anyone who's watched any percent Deku Tree?
It's funny, just last night I did a meme stream where I did any percent for the first and only time, and I will never do that category ever again.
I really like any percent just as a technical demonstration of what OOT is capable of. But once you watch one, you don't need to watch people streaming that for 10 million hours straight. Although, shout out to those crazy any percent runners who can do that for 10 hours straight. Because I couldn't.
I know. Beat that 1709 eventually.
You know, sub 17. At some point maybe. Who knows?
Eventually, we'll find a way to buy or get Ocarina items without bottles somehow, and we'll avoid having to get bugs or something. Sloth, scooting along Hyrule Field. Exodus picking up his 5th compass? I want to say 5th. Shadow, DC, Deku, Jabu, Ice Cavern. Yep, that's 5. So Exodus has found Fire Temple, he's found Forest Temple, and Spirit Temple.
I can't imagine him being child any much longer, to be honest. I expect that he'll basically try and go adult ASAP from this point.
A really nice find for Sloth, picking up Sunsong Grave here. Looks like Exodus is gonna make his way out of Deku Tree.
The only thing is, if I recall correctly...
And he'll also pick up Sunsong, both players in the grave right now.
If I recall correctly, Hookshot is child only, technically? Was it right, Ali?
Yes? No, wait, yeah, okay. Yes, it was. It was entering right alley, so Hookshot is child only.
So that'll be...
However, you can't, like I said, you can, exit Graveyard and play Sun Song, which Exodus has now, so...
Definitely true. It's just, it'll be interesting to see if he manages to get Hookshot before going adult or not.
Yeah, in my last Beta Quest draft against Sloth, Hookshot was moving the grave that we started the entire draft bind. Oh, sorry! Look at this! Look at where Sloth is! Exodus is about to get a free goal. The end of Sunsong cutscene is going to be Twin Rova. Exodus has one shot here after he learns Sunsong to defeat Twin Rova, so if he dies, that's going to be a huge punishment.
Yeah, this is going to be quite interesting. He's going to have to be on top of his game here. The worst comes to worst is he has to reset to his last save and then get Sunsong again later. He did save when he... Did he save when he got Deku Tree Gold?
I believe so, yes, because usually, as we talked about earlier, it's very muscle memory for Beta Quest players to save inside of dungeons, so if something goes awry, a reset can bring them to a new loading zone chain.
Yeah, it's definitely something that it's probably not too much of an issue if he does die here, but it's definitely something that he'll want to get right first time.
So now that Sloth has Sunsong, he's going to defeat Nimburu Knuckle here, move into the Twin Rova Chamber, and perhaps try out Sunsong, but Exodus is going to stay a while.
Yeah, the weird thing about this room is you can't actually Sunsong in the first two rooms. You actually have to Sunsong from the Twin Rova Chamber itself. The other two just don't work.
Exodus, jump slashing. Interesting. I don't know why he's not crouch stabbing. Is this...
It's a bit safer, which might be weighing on his mind, that if he dies here, he wastes so much time.
That is true. As we said before, he has to play this extremely safe. He did pick up Fairy Slingshot, which will help him quite a bit in the actual Twin Rova fight itself. Help them lock Twin Rova into position there and get good reflex.
I've only just realized Exodus doesn't have Master Sword. He's doing this with Kiri Sword. This is gonna take forever.
That's why I was like, he also has a stick, so like, that's why I'm equally wondering why he's not going for the crouch stab strat.
Safety strats, apparently.
Since I've never been killed as child fighting an Iron Knuckle.
It can be risky if you accidentally hit at the time when the Iron Knuckle looks to block, because if you accidentally hit the block, you get pushed back, and then the Iron Knuckle just destroys you completely.
Now, here's an interesting wording of the rules here. All Exodus needs to do is to defeat Twin Rova, get that first frame of the death animation. So he doesn't have to go through the blue warp and waste time looking at that cutscene. He can instantly go Sunsong and make his way back to CAC as we saw Sloth do.
Yeah, he's definitely going to want to make sure that he plays the Twin Rova fight a bit safe. It's very dangerous when you only have 3 hearts, because if you get hit by anything, you're pretty much dead. So you have to be on top of it in terms of not only getting all of the redirects done nicely, but also avoiding any damage that can come your way.
If Exodus is able to do this boss fight, which, I'm not gonna lie, I think Exodus is more than capable of doing this, and if he does pull it off, he is he's slowly trying to catch up to Sloth here. He'll be 1 goal away from a tie.
Absolutely,
However,
I think...
Yeah, Sloth has a bunch of goals banked here. Just 1 trip in Water Temple is another goal. Making his way back to Goron City, that's Goron Tunic, that's another goal. If he is able to randomly come across Skull Temple, House of Skulltilla, that's another goal, so it's really up in the air here. Exodus without Hookshot, it's looking a bit rough.
Yeah, he definitely has quite a few goals that he's not too worried about. 1 more compass, that's nice and easy. Bottle slots is easy, he's already got pretty much everything he needs for that. Trials, both Spirit and Forest, are pretty much doable right now. He knows where Fire Temple is, I believe. I'm pretty sure he found that earlier.
Correct.
And then just the Wasteland Skulls is probably the one that's going to be hardest to do without Hookshot.
It's interesting to see Exodus not equipping Fairy Slingshot for this fight, just to make it a tiny bit easier.
Yeah, that is something that he probably could be doing, but once again, it's one of those things where if you miss time the slingshot and you get hit, you're
Yeah,
done
that's
for.
true. Like, the less that can go wrong, the better. Ooh, essentially a double there.
Nice. I think we'll be able to get the hit on.
I doubt it. No, sadly no. 'Tis the burden of fighting Twin Rova without easy hookshot.
Oh, absolutely.
Exodus's stream is buffering for me right now, so I may be a bit behind.
Yeah, same. You're not the only one.
Oh, okay. Uh-oh. Well, nothing bad happened then.
Picnic.
Uh-oh.
Picnic.
Picnic! Everyone's saying rip Exodus's stream.
Yeah, it looks like it's gone down completely.
Oh no. I hope he didn't die and then rage quit.
No, that would be awkward.
And Sloth picking up the Goron. Oh, it is offline. Oh no. Splice! God damn it. Oh no.
He's secretly
Sloth...
replacing his stream with a TASed version.
You know, I've been actually wanting to learn, like, I've been wanting to do like a beta quest task, but I don't know what that would entail.
So much effort and time. Ugh.
I know, but it'd be fun.
I really like watching TASes, but then I'm like, I would really not want to do a TAS.
Shout out to all dungeons, no doors, and 100% in 3 pauses.
Yeah.
These are amazing videos.
Exodus just marked Twin Rova, so assumably...
There we go. His stream is back online, and we are watching Twin Rova fight here. Definitely no splicing involved in this victory. ZFG splice.
ZFG splice.
And Sloth, 2 for winning it here in Goron City. That combo meal of Goron Tunic and Death Mountain area skulls.
Definitely
Sloth
really
in
nice.
Such a good position right now.
Just needs to get back to Water Temple, grab the compass, immediately Fey rolls back to Shadow, do Shadow, and then it's just
such a... I'm kind of marking out over his route right now. It's so good. So as I said before, is Exodus gonna step through the blue warp, or is he gonna play Sunsong?
Looks like he's gonna crash again.
Emulator crash? Oh. Fun. I guess his emulator crashed. And so did his overlay. What? Oh no. Picnic.
That's so bad.
There we go.
If he didn't, did he save after he defeated, or did it pause?
He definitely saved. It looks good. He's without a stick, so there you go.
Yeah, he hasn't unmarked.
Sure saved. Splicing twice.
Sloth back in Shadow for the skulls. It's actually interesting.
Sorry.
I was just about to say, it's actually interesting that Sloth's run through the tournament so far has actually been quite a lot of well-named Ocarina of Time runners. But first round, TTK, Runner Guy, and then What the Hell Happened? Followed by Exodus.
With very commendable scores as well. He's gotten 2 12s in this tournament so far.
Yeah, he's absolutely tearing through so far. And the question is, will he be able to keep up this lead against Exodus or not?
Well, let's keep in mind what Exodus has. All Exodus needs to find is Hookshot, and then every single one of his goals is completable. He's going adult. Once he makes his way back to Meadow, that's Minuet Forest, check. He just needs 1 incidental compass from anywhere, check. He knows where Fire Temple is, and then although that's a really large time sink, check. He's an RBA and a red potion away from all 4 bottle slots, so once he makes his way back to Trials, we might see him RBA with a bomb. 4 bottle slots, check. End of Forest Trial, he'll get that after he does 4 bottle slots RBA, check. And then get to the end of Spirit Trial is right there. He has everything necessary. So actually, if Exodus gets to Trials, that's like... that's like 3 goals in 1.
Yeah, Exodus is in a really good spot in terms of preparation-wise. He's behind now by quite a bit, but the amount of prep that he's done basically means that all of his goals are quickly and easily completable. The reason I think this is going to come down to it is if Sloth can't find Skull House or Bottom of the Well, I think that's what's going to get him in the long term. Blanca seems insulted that we're sleeping on his boy Sloth.
Well, everyone likes an underdog.
To be fair, Sloth is actually a very good Beta Quest player.
Yeah.
We shouldn't assume that just because Exodus is the Bing God as people call him or whatever. But yeah, no doubt these two are very good at what they do. So
yeah,
hopefully it'll be okay.
The randomness inherent in Beta Quest is the ultimate equalizer.
Oh, absolutely. Like, that's one of the reasons that it's really good for people to start picking up because, even though there are people out there who have thousands of hours playing Ocarina of Time, all it can take is just a bit of good luck, and you can absolutely be competitive.
Exodus hunting for bomb drops.
Getting rupees instead. Feels bad.
Man, who would go around those bushes and just have like a rip in their wallet, like really huge, that all that money just gets spilled out?
Clearly, we've been anyone who's earning money for doing a job or anything. We're doing the wrong thing. Just go outside and cut the grass.
Go inside of people's houses, smash up their pots. Kill people in the woods for fun. Anything's available for you if you want it.
Catch bugs. Give them to some beggar. In fact, catch bugs, drop bugs, and catch more bugs, and just consistently sell.
It's a wonder how the economy in Hyrule hasn't immediately crashed. Sloth making his way back to the beginning of Forest Temple. Shout out to Shadow Temple, sorry. Shout out to Ferraro's Win. Such a useful fairy spell for Beta Quest.
Don't know why he placed it there, or unless he didn't actually. If he hadn't removed it from last time, he actually went to Shadow normally. Then maybe I missed that. But I'm just like, well, this is a bit of a walk for no reason.
And here we go. Exodus is going to be on autopilot for the next while here. Maybe going for time stop here. Yes. Okay. Yep. Skipping the Darunia cutscene behind this first door here, and Exodus in Fire Temple mode. He's got 9 Gorons to free and not a lot of time to do them. Actually, it'd be really cute to see if he does the Darunia hookshot jump up to hammer.
A nice double cutscene.
Yeah, both players pretty much in autopilot mode right now. Sloth navigating Shadow, Exodus navigating Fire. There's not going to be a whole lot of talking points to say unless something interesting comes up.
Well, the interesting thing is Exodus is doing Fire without Goron Tunic, so he's going to have to grab some fairies and make sure that he manages his health correctly, because Fire Temple without Goron Tunic can be scary in the next major room if you're not careful.
We might see some quip swapping for infinite fairies.
I expect that's probably the case if it comes down to it. I don't actually know the minimum amount of hearts you need with a fairy to make all the rooms possible. Obviously, the main concern is the next 2 rooms because they're both fire, so you need to have quite a bit of time.
Exodus equipping Ocarina here. Are we gonna see some side hops delaying the timer?
Definitely an option. basically you want to get as much time as you can, and if that means having to do Ocarina hops and stuff to delay that time as much as possible, then yeah, I expect that might be the case.
It's actually really nice that Exodus is getting this 9 Goron's goal out of the way right now, because nothing is worse than having to do a long goal and you sweating looking at the timer and there's only like 11 minutes left.
Sloth getting the skull in Shadow for some reason, I assume in case he finds
does need 10 of them.
Giant's wallet. Yeah. But for a minute there, I had to double check the goal. I had to double check the goal. I'm like, I thought it was keys. Why is he get? Ah, I got it.
I mean, it's right there, right?
It is right there. You grab them when you can.
We might see him pick up some other incidental skulls as well, such as the one that's in the key room coming up ahead here.
He already has at least 8 from Death Mountain area, so I assume he probably has the required amount. But
that's true.
Surely he's picked up another one somewhere. Now using the hook shot to double check where the invisible platform is so he doesn't mistime it and run off the edge like an idiot.
That was,
which I'm sure a lot of all I've done.
That was an interesting thing from Sloth's stream. He like went into hookshot mode, but then like he got damaged, so it took him to third person.
So Sloth's almost done with Shadow Temple, just the last room to grab the key from the gigantic skull. Shoutouts to what the hell's happened, who hovered all the way up there, only to miss the one actually on the platform.
Oh no!
I think it was what the hell's happened. He didn't have hookshot, so he had to hover all the way up there. Got up there and then jumped at the other roof, and then was like, wait a minute.
And I believe that's all the keys? No? Yes! Furrow's Window makes quick work of the keys goal, and Sloth, 3 goals left. One of which he can complete right now. All he needs to do is make his way back to Water Temple, get the map. Or sorry, get the compass, my bad. And then it's just loading zone hunting is the only thing he can do.
Pretty much. It's one of the worst parts of Beta Quest is when you have all your goals done, there's just one last thing that you need to go and find.
And we have a little more than an hour left. Exodus really playing catch up here, and he's still he's freed 3 Gorons at this point? 4.
It's 4, yep.
Forgot the one in the first room with Darunia. I'm not really up and up with my Fire Temple strats.
Yeah, 3 9 Gorons isn't really a common goal. Honestly, half the time I have to remember which how many Gorons are where and stuff, and it's just like, how many have I freed so far? But
the one I always keep forgetting is the second one. I guess it's the third one in the rock maze, the one through the door that I believe Exodus is heading to right now.
Yes, yeah.
Always forget the stupid Goron.
It's not a very common goal, so when you do see it getting done, it's kind of, people have all these different strategies because no one really has like a set idea of what they want to do with it.
Yeah.
Sloth can't find the hole.
A common problem he has.
Doesn't go anywhere good.
And there he goes, making his way back to Water Temple.
So just the compass for him to grab here. And then it'll be
that was a
the loading zone hunt. He tried.
More optimism than I have. Thought that could make it. There we go. Water Temple, getting the compass is as easy as just having a sword and shield. Just a simple ledge clip here makes the whole temple skippable, essentially.
Yeah, it's actually one of the most important tricks in Water Temple because there's so much you can do by getting out of bounds.
So all he has to do is swim over to this lower corridor here, dive, load the room, and swim over to the compass, and that'll be his 10th goal. It's very important that you find the correct spot here, because if you dive too low, you sort of screw yourself. There we go, he gets it.
When you have a glitch dive meter with only one thing, you don't really have to worry about it too much, but it's still kind of a pain to try and find the exact right area. A lot of people actually memorize exactly where it is based on the ground tiles.
There we go. Sloth increases his lead even bigger right now. Exodus, without hookshot, having to do the flare dancer with throwing bombs at it, and I'm just cluing into that now.
Yeah, surprisingly, a lot of people don't actually know about that.
I didn't know you could hookshot them when I was playing this casually way back in like 2000, because when you're freeing the Gorons, one of them gives you the tip that and he makes it sound like that's the only way you can damage them. So not only did I throw a bomb at them to get them to run around, I thought you had to place a bomb so that they had to run into it, and it was just painful.
Yeah, one of the Gorons that you free says you have to use the Goron special crop.
Yes, there you go.
But yeah, no. After playing for a while, you're like, why? This is silly.
Well, that's just gullible me when I was a kid, believing everything everybody says. Oh!
Whoops,
that's an unfortunate time loss there. There you go. Game wasn't cooperating there for a moment.
On the bright side, he fell off on that side and not the other side.
Oh my god, can you imagine? That's why I'm like never wanting to roll on those stairs. Exodus is a braver man than I am.
So basically for him it'll be grab the hammer, jump down to the Goron beneath, then the only one left is the boss key.
Now that jump is very annoying because once you hit the loading zone, it snaps you to the middle of the room, so you gotta be holding the correct direction here.
Yeah, it's not ideal.
Looks like he's gonna be lowering the pillar here for being able to quickly get to the boss key, I guess. Sorry, not boss key, to the Fulvagia's room.
It'll be definitely the way to get the boss key quicker without having to, go through the rest of the dungeon again.
Of course, there is nothing stopping you from hitting the button inside that block of time there. Great game, great, well-made video game.
Sloth has just found bottom of the well.
Nice. We have seen I know Exodus found Phantom Ganon, but if Sloth needs to go back, if Sloth wants to get a 12 here, he needs to go back to Child and find that.
Yes, that's going to be something that you'll need to make sure that. Exodus getting hit by a bottle. Sloth will need to be able to get to Child again to be able to do that goal. So if he can't find Phantom Ganon, or if he hasn't found it, then that's going to be a problem for him.
Ooh, Exodus hoping for some heart drops out of these keys. Actually, doesn't Exodus have a fairy?
He used it earlier.
Yeah, but, oh, he didn't exo-clip it. Oh, that's really cute. Using the cutscene to save himself the fall damage. That's like actually, really cute.
That's actually quite good use of that. I don't think I've ever seen that before.
No, that's why you knocked the pillar down. Okay, Exodus is outsmarted us all. Demonstrating once again why I really enjoy OOT from a speedrunning perspective.
Always new things to learn.
Oh,
managed just to get out before he dies from the heat timer.
2 seconds left. Oh, you just don't take fall damage there, period? Okay.
I thought it was only if you fell while you were on the pillar, but I will see that too. Todd probably knows better than I do, so...
Sloth doing OI on the DC switch here. That Keese might have ruined his chances of... Yep, there you go. Dear Exodus, please don't die. Sincerely, TG. Oh, and he gets the heart. Okay, we're fine. Fine forever.
Yeah, he gets another one as well, so that should be fine. Also, shout outs to Hammer making flare dances easy.
Yep. So we got Sloth continuing to try and get OI correctly here. We have Exodus fighting the final flare dancer, just about to free the final Goron. And there we go, Exodus dealing with that flare dancer.
This actually could be quite interesting as it comes down into the last hour now, of when people get goals is now important because of the overtime rule. If they get to the last area when they're tied, then whoever got the last goal will lose if the overtime time ends without anyone getting a goal. So at this point, Sloth has a bit of an advantage if it goes into overtime, but he really has to hope he can find the Giant's Wallet, the Skull House.
Yep. Looks like Sloth is on his way to enter the Baronade room. Exodus checking Link's house.
I find it odd that Sloth's going through all this effort to check Baronade. I guess having Boomerang does absolutely help with bottom of the well skulls, but it's definitely not required.
Yeah, I only recently learned the bottom of the well will choose only skulls, and as somebody who sucks at hovering, it's definitely giving me difficulties.
Yeah, the bottom of the world skulls aren't actually too hard. Like, generally, you only need one chew, I'm pretty sure. So it's definitely a lot of retriability and stuff.
Oh yeah, because you can hover off the keys in the... Yeah, okay.
You can actually hover off the sculpture itself if you get the
itself?
right,
Really? Okay.
position. Yeah. There's actually a, I think SVA did a video on it, probably. One of the millions of people who've made OOT tutorial videos and stuff, but it's a really quick and easy strat with a single chew. You hover off the skull, jump, backflip a few times, and then just pull out a stick.
Shout out to SVA's tutorial videos.
Oh, yeah.
Recently learns the damage boost in DC if you don't have a shield, and is 6 set up for that. I haven't failed it at all. It's so good. Exodus in Trials. Is he gonna do what I was talking about earlier? Yes, he is. So a very cool strat if you have 4 bottle slots is you can buy a red potion from the shrubs that inhabit the secret fairy fountain in Ganon's castle. The one on the right will sell you a red potion for, I believe it's 40 rupees. And put that in a bottle, RBA it, and then you're good to go and have 4 bottle slots. It's also really good if you don't need to go and find a shop with like Market Potion, Kakariko Potion. There's so many more ways into Trials as well. It's the easiest way to get a red potion.
Absolutely, it's really quick and easy to do when you get to the Trials, because there's so many load zones as you mentioned. Looks like he's struggling to get the bottle on B, unfortunately. Can't seem to get the right buffer frame.
Ooh, that looks... One more. So it looks like Sloth is getting Boomerang. I do know that Sloth does have problems with bottom of the well skulls without Boomerang, so this is within his MO here.
Clearly something he needs to work on then, because it's really easy. I shouldn't say that. Sloth's actually a really good player.
More than likely better than I. There we go. Exodus picking up the red potion from the far right shrub there. He's a B press away from completing a goal. There he goes. And scene.
Now to just grab the RPA for the letter. That'll instantly give him an arrow to fire. Also needs to RPA.
I thought you need to... Can you light an ice arrow on fire, or do you need to have be expended of all magic?
I believe you need to have no magic, if I recall.
Okay, well, he has Din's Fire, so that's an easy way he can dump all of his magic very quickly. Neighbor's Love as well takes out, isn't it like half your magic meter?
I believe you can cast it 4 times with double, so half of
yes.
Standard meter sounds about right.
Sloth trying to get into river from woods here. Deciding to navi dive.
Looks like Exodus just realized he has magic, so instantly cancels that out and now has to get rid of his magic by using the ice arrows and then cancel.
Oh, I never even thought of that. I thought it only expended magic once you fired it. Okay, that's a...
No,
that's
it's when you charge it, I believe.
Later. Okay. Yeah, I was thinking you need to, like, burn magic with... But there we go. Able to fire it, burns the web. And that'll be another goal for Exodus. So Exodus needs to make his way back to Meadow to get a Minuet of Forest. That's a free goal. He's 1 compass away from yet another goal.
This is definitely where Exodus starts to come back into it, because he's definitely got the
yes,
the preparation done.
We have an hour left, and Exodus really looks good to do 12 here. Sloth needs to find Skullhouse, needs to get back, defeat Phantom Ganon here, and that's what he's doing. Makes his way back to Lon Lon, starting this fight. I guess his plan of action in the next hour here is to go back in time, make his way back to bottom of the well, get the skulls there, and hope to hell he finds Skullhouse.
Shout out to hammering torch logs. That is the greatest thing. Just watching them flip over constantly, just like... Wah, 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 wah.
So Sloth, even though he was dominating the first 2/3 of this race, not having those lucky loading zones, as we were talking about during the draft, is really coming back to bite him in the butt.
Yes, it's definitely that one, the Giant's Wallet, that's gonna cause him a bit of strife. Giant's Wallet, I think, is... or at least Skullhouse, always seems to be a rare loading zone that I encounter. I don't actually see Skullhouse that often.
It's quite interesting. The one that eludes, always seems to elude me, and it's funny we're talking about like, oh, we never seem to find it, because it is random chance. Everybody has different like superstitions about what loading zones are rarer than others, but for me, Shadow Temple is always one of the hardest things to find.
It's always the things that you need.
Exactly.
Exodus just farming bombs because he doesn't have hookshot to the torch, so he's going to need to hover up there.
Oh, does Exodus' stream go down again? Are we seeing another splice?
Another splice, another Taz section. Another picnic, as it were.
Another picnic. Sloth, who's cycling Phantom Ganon here?
This Phantom Ganon fight is relatively straightforward, which is nice.
There we go. Exodus' stream is back up for me.
I'm just going to refresh the page.
Nope, never mind. He's down. Oh, there we go. I have no idea what's up with Twitch. Oh my god, dude. Okay, yeah, no, I lied. Exodus is down right now. Oh no.
At some point, he'll get to the end of the forest trail and be like, yeah, he totally did that, right?
Yeah.
Like, totally did it. We can't prove it, but he did it. Although, to be fair,
unfortunately, Sloth will need to step into this blue warp in order to get the forest medallion so he can go back in time. So he has a bit of a cutscene to watch here.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, but you generally have to do that unless you want to
Oh.
cutscene skip.
And just conveniently, Exo's stream goes live as he hovers up and gets Din's fire.
Press L to hover. But yeah, no, Exodus is very well known in the communities. I'm absolutely sure.
I know. I am doing the funny. There we go. Very elementary rupee collection here.
I guess bomb drop off the edge. That's kind of disappointing.
As an Ocarina of Time runner, you always shed a tear every time a bomb drop goes uncollected. There we go, I believe this is the final rupee Exo needs. Waiting for that fan to quit. Sloth desperately looking around for loading zones unchecked. Making his way to Forest Temple, and with the completion of Forest Trial, Exo is one goal away from tying this up. Sloth makes his way back to Temple of Time.
Looks like he's going to go and do Battle of the World quickly. Just kick that out the way. Just because it means that in tiebreak situation, once again, he did a goal quickest, so it's quite important to get that done. And then when you're looking for load zones, you just gotta pray and hope.
Yeah, as I was saying before, the last hour is when you're really going to see all of the action take place. This race is going to be incredibly close, whoever wins it. Exo just needs one more compass. He knows... Did he grab Fire Temple compass?
Don't know.
Interesting. He was right there in the fire maze. He could have. If he did grab compass, he's not marking off that he has 6 compasses completed.
Unless he didn't do one that we missed.
Well,
I'm pretty sure he did.
He got Deku, he got DC, he got Jabu, he got Shadow, he did Ice Cavern. That's 5. If he got Fire Temple, that's 6 compasses, and that's a goal.
I'd have to check the VOD.
Maybe Exodus has a plan. Man, screw this seam walk, by the way. Maintaining ISG when there's all this lever bullshit happening.
It's not ideal. You don't actually need ISG for this. You can do it without, but it is a pain. The seam walk does suck a lot.
Exodus didn't have Water Temple Compass before he RBA'd Arrow, so that's not the case.
Good timing as well.
Oh, excellent timing. Sloth back as child now. And Exodus, a trip to Meadow away from tying this, winning here. And look at the swag strats. Using Boomerang. What a cool man. Oh, right, he doesn't have hookshot. That's why.
Yeah, he doesn't have hookshot.
Oh, no. It's interesting how Exodus wasn't able to pick up hookshot. It was just, Market. Right alley. Okay, so, Chad is confirming that he did not pick up Fire Compass, in which case Fuel's Batman.
Well, he just has to find, as you mentioned, the Sacred Forest Meadow, and then another temple that he doesn't have a compass in, and he should be good to go. Sloth, meanwhile, just getting back towards bottom of the well, and I think that Giant's Wallet is going to be, have to be found pretty quick, or he's going to be in trouble.
Yep. Basically, it's, the location of, Skull House is... And there we go, Exodus taking the lead with his journey to Meadow. Sloth in bottom of the well. It's gonna come down to the final goal here. Exodus is just one compass away from 12ing. Sloth just needs to find House of Skulltilla in order to get the win here. And what is Sloth doing? What is... Sorry, but Sloth's struggling a little bit when time is of the absolute essence right now.
It's always one of those things when we see your opponents getting their last couple of goals that the pressure starts to mount and you just start making simple mistakes.
For those of you watching Sloth stream, he's going to make a very depressed face once he realizes that Exodus will mark off Minuetta Forest. Of course, in order to do all keys. Oh no! Sloth RBAing Pocket Coco messed up his diving upgrade and he is unable. He needs to go over to the Triforce and play ZL to lower the water if he wants to get over there. And there we go, Minuetta Forest being checked off.
Man, that's very disappointing. He's just like, I'll just go dive. It's like,
Exodus one compass away. He knows where Forest is. I still don't know why he didn't grab Fire Compass. Like I said, Exodus probably has a plan.
He's found Water Temple, so maybe it's... I still can't see that being faster than being, I'm in fire, let's just do it now, but...
There we go, Sloth playing ZL on the Triforce marking.
Everyone's favorite Dekubaba outside Link's house as an adult.
There we go. Exodus going to the crypt, Sloth going to the crypt room.
Exodus doing a Lon Hess all the way to the back entrance.
Come on, just exit Graveyard and play Sun Song for hookshot, dude.
I think he doesn't really need it at this point.
No, he doesn't need it, but like, it's so awful to watch when we have that dramatic irony of something being that easy and the runner just doesn't do it. And he's going back to Fire Temple. Okay.
He's back in Fire Temple. Guess he just forgot about it in the midst of doing the 9 Gorons.
He's grabbing a fairy here.
Yep. It's important.
This match would have been over if he grabbed it earlier, too.
It's a bit unfortunate, but in the long run, I don't think it's going to make a difference.
Full 12 yeah, that is a good point. We still have 45 minutes left in this beta quest, and it's 10 to 11 right now. That is incredible from both of these runners.
It's actually an incredible match so far.
Exodus plays. I guess that's the meme of the run now, huh?
Exodus using that red potion.
Safety strats.
He needs that extra half heart. It's quite important in this room.
So it looks like Exodus has this match on lockdown. He's just a walk in the park away from Fire Compass.
Looks like Sloth will manage to get his skull goal, so
there we go.
That's
all things considered, an 11 to 12 on the brackets looks pretty good. Sloth having some difficulties with his like. There we go. And that's Sloth's goals there. He needs to find Skullhouse and fast. Exodus is moments away from the compass room in Fire Temple. He already did the Goron skip to open up the gate earlier when he was freeing them, of course. So it's just a climb up to the fire maze. Exodus is like maybe 3 minutes away from... Not even 3 minutes. Less than that.
Yeah, closer to 1.
So Sloth needs to clutch it out and find Skullhouse here. Oh, he's not gonna find it by talking to the local carpenters, though.
Maybe they have some good information.
Maybe they have some information. Hey, sir, have you seen Skullhouse? I'm really looking for it.
I'm willing to bet he'd be like, yeah, it's just over there.
Oh, let's see if it's sacred, if it's Lost Woods to Sacred Forest Meadow. Oh, truth game. Good info, but it's in Japanese. And Exodus moving into the fire maze and Sloth stuck in Deku Tree cutscene. Oh, this is hard to watch.
That's probably gonna be it though, but
Yep, Exodus. Just a super slide or a mega flip or wherever he chooses to get past this fire maze. There it is. Exodus going for Fire Compass. And that will be it for this winner's bracket race of the Beta Quest Bingo Tournament.
What a race though. What a race.
Boom! Exodus 12 with 40 minutes remaining.
He hasn't marked it off yet.
Wait, what? He hasn't marked it off.
Has he really not got that many compasses yet?
He should have 6.
We know he's found enough dungeons.
Deku, he got DC. He got Ice Cavern. He did get Jabu.
Well, he's back now.
He didn't get Jabu Compass. Okay, I swore he got Jabu Compass.
And the
Okay.
tension's still there.
Sloth buying a little time here for Sloth. I cannot believe it. I thought that was the end. No.
He was
Sloth
here doing
still
all
has
this.
time.
He was in all these dungeons doing all these things. He's like, I don't need compasses now. I'll just do it later. And we're like, oh, it's amazing. And he's just like, it's fine.
Like I said, if he did these at the time, it would have been over when he was when he finished watching Minuet, which would have been a really funny thing to end on. So Sloth has a couple moments here. We're close for this race being actually physically competed. Where is he going?
He forgot Rudo.
He forgot
can't get
Rudo.
the switch.
Okay.
God, it's just tense. The tension.
Debated by commentary. We're just really into this race, and I thought exit. Okay, whatever. I guess he was sort of ignoring 6 compasses until it was a relevant goal, but Sloth doing Stalfos fight here. Here's a fun little fact: if you're only going for the compass and Jabu, once you destroy the tentacle, you can just leave the room and skip the animation of the map chest spawning. And Exodus knows that.
You gotta be quick though. You don't have the long between when the tentacle dies and the thing.
Sloth fighting the Stalfos here. Oh, and he dies in collapse.
That's not great.
That's not great at all.
Shoutouts to Runner Guy for figuring out you can climb those torches and not knowing.
Oh no, stuck in the middle with you. And there we go, Exodus. Now, this is his final compass, right? We're sure of it?
Yes, yes, he's
There
marked
we
it
go,
up.
he marks it off. There we go. With 38 minutes left on the clock, Exodus wins 12-11 against Sloth in this winner's bracket match of the Beta Quest Bingo Tournaments. Oh my goodness, what an extremely close race between these two runners. Sloth with the apparent early lead, but Exodus with the advantage where he actually knows where his loading zone is. Sloth still running around with that Giant's Wallet, showing that picking these random goals, these goals that only one loading zone leading to it is a complete double-edged sword.
What a
What an
match though,
ending.
really. Oh, shoutouts to Exodus for baiting us constantly with the compasses.
Oh, 100%.
Here we are being like, oh, he's been to all these dungeons, he's got all these compasses, he's right there, and he's like, nah, I didn't do it. Didn't bother. Clearly knows more than us.
What a race. What a pleasure commentating these two go at it.
Absolutely. It was an incredible race. To finish 11-12 with even with 35 minutes remaining still, they absolutely shoot through that card.
Now, it is not the end of the tournament for Sloth. He will be fighting it out in the loser bracket. Exodus will move on. Let me get the challenge bracket open here so I have so I actually know what I'm talking about. Exodus will move on to face Australava. Or how do you pronounce that shit?
Australava, I think. I actually
Okay.
don't know. I never know.
Well, I hope I got it in one shot there. Slotharoni, as he's called on the bracket here.
It's great.
Amazing name. He's going to move on to fight. Actually, he's going to be sitting in loser bracket for quite some time. In fact, you might be fighting him if you can win against Keymaker, Bonuru, and whoever wins between Phoenix Feather and Marshall. So
that's
a heck of a lot of people to get through.
Slightly optimistic.
You can do it, man. I believe in you.
I don't.
Well,
I really hope my match against Keymaker is really good though, because that'll be when is it? I think it's tomorrow. But we're very closely matched in skill, so hopefully it'll be a match like this one. I was hoping.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I believe that just about wraps things up. No?
I think that's about it, actually.
Sounds good.
Trying to see if one of the runners wants to do an interview, but I don't think.
Oh, that would be fantastic.
We'll see. Ben Stevens versus Kente. When is that? I'm not sure which one we're actually covering next.
I don't have that information either, but
Ben Stevens versus Kente is, according to the schedule, the exact same time as this one was.
Oh, well, that's a big fat no.
Unfortunately, we don't have a ZSR2 Twitch channel.
Yeah.
Unless, of course, it was
written schedule. So I'll be here in a second.
It started like 15 minutes ago? Okay.
A bit late now, then.
Yeah. Hello, welcome to the Counting Compasses stream.
Now, let's talk about the Giant Wallet pick and how things would be different if Sloth had picked 9 hearts.
Yeah, that is interesting, because Sloth is usually really on board with hearts goals. Usually when I draft against him, he picks them very high. So it was very interesting to see 9 hearts not being taken in this draft.
All right. Yo.
Hey, Sloth, how are you doing?
Kind of feel bad.
Yeah, I can imagine.
What a match, though. What a match.
What a match.
I thought I had enough, like an hour time of exploring, but yeah, he found everything as well, I guess. So he didn't find the Skulltula house as well, I guess.
I don't think we saw him walk into it, no. Hello, Exodus. How are you doing?
Hey.
Congratulations on your 12-point victory.
Thanks.
What a match, though. Absolutely amazing commentary.
What a great match.
You baited us so hard on the amount of compasses you had. We all thought you had compasses already from Jabu and like fire and stuff, and we're like, oh, he's finished. No, he's still going. He's finished now. No, he's still going.
Completely forgot about Jabu and Fire Compass until I finished.
Oh my goodness, because we were sitting here like, you could have finished on Minuet, even.
Yeah.
Oh, so we might have just baited the chat a little bit hard there. But I think the biggest story of this match is how you two drafted. We did notice that Sloth picked a lot of goals that were single loading zone. You could argue that there a lot of luck involved there. Sloth, did you knowingly pick goals like that against EXO? What was your strategy when it was drafting?
Yeah, I mean it's EXO, right? So I I figured I had to be lucky, and I had to give him some golds which were a bit longer. So as you know, I like picking hard golds, but 9 hearts is so long, and I think my just giving him longer golds, like I don't know, he picked Fire Temple Gorons, which is kind of easy, but it takes quite a while. So I just picked golds, which if I find it, I can do it basically. So that was my strat, and the board full of ZL goals helped. So I
Yeah,
picked
really. Especially
Fire.
when Zeal was the second loading zone that EXO ended up finding. That was insane.
Yeah, and I picked Din's Fire and FW because those are the two, like, how do I say it? Like the useful spells, I guess.
Yes, exactly.
And with
was
Din's
very-
Fire, I think he picked Nehru's and Forest Rider right after. So I would have actually picked Forest Rider and Nehru's Love right after if he didn't pick it. So
yeah, Exodus had a lot of goals saved up at one point. Just one trials visit later, and that was 3 goals at once. So
Yeah.
so
yeah, I was ahead pretty much the whole game, but I was scared when he got the 9 Gorons. That was his goal, which was like from the length was like the longest, I guess.
Yes.
Time. And I was scared at that point. I was like 7-2 or something, and I thought I had like 1 hour of exploration. But yeah, when he picked that goal, it was like, oh, ZL is so easy. He can do forest. He has everything to do spirit, and he has minuet and bottle slots left. So that was like kind of free. So I was scared all the time. So
yeah,
I knew it.
It was about halfway through the draft when we were keeping note of, because I was actually taking notes this time on what each player still needed to find. Such as, it was great when you found all the Gerudo cards, but eventually you just stopped finding things. You couldn't find Skull House. There was a while you couldn't find Well, and you had to actually waste the time to go back, fight Phantom Ganon so you could do Well Skulls, and that sort of put you at a disadvantage, so.
Yeah.
Still
a good race though.
Yeah.
I did nothing wrong, I say, so.
So Exodus, end of Sun Song cutscene was Twinrova, eh?
That was so good.
Oh my goodness.
Oh man.
So you had to do that in one shot, else you had to reset.
Yeah.
Oh, you beat it after Sunsong?
Yeah, I didn't find the actual entrance. I just got the random warp after Sunsong.
Yeah, I just found it. It was leaving ZL.
Oh, okay.
That was the real thing. But yeah.
But yeah, it was like we saw EXO doing a couple of safer strategies, like jump slashing the Brew Knuckle instead of crouch
I did not want to die. I was doing the safest possible strat because I knew if I died, I would have to reset and go back to Sunsong somehow. So I just did the slowest, safest possible strat for that.
What?
Also, the fact that you had Kokiri Sword at that point, because then you're just slashing for like minutes, just like,
When he has a stick and he could just crouch stab.
Yeah, true. But there is, sometimes when I kill the Knuckles as child, I recoil off the Knuckle if I don't time the crouch stab correctly, and I've died that way before, so I just wanted to do the safest possible thing.
That's fine. One of the things I marked out for the most in this whole beta quest was Sloth's slick as all hell chain. He went from Goron City, and then got Goron Tunic, and then also got all DMT skulls. Went to Water Temple, got the Water Temple compass after RBing a thing, and then for Aurora's Winding to do Shadow Keys. It was such a really efficient route that I sort of like went crazy about.
Yeah, I don't know. If you have FW, Shadow is really good. Like it's not, don't have to save one up pretty much. But I want to actually do water first, so I could use FW more. But I wasn't Goron City, so that was like Shadow Temple, and then I found water after.
Okay, yeah.
It was weird, but I had that in mind. I want to do Compass and then port into Shadow, but yeah, the loading zones pretty much gave it to me, so that was slick. Yeah, that was the point where I thought I could have a chance, but then he marked the Gorons, and then I was like, it's gonna be bad.
So, Exodus, with Sloth getting all of these easy goals right off the bat, I believe he had like a 4-goal lead on you at some point. Was that getting into your head at all, or were you confident that you knew where all the loading zones were and you knew that you were going to pull through?
I was really nervous for the first hour because, yeah, he got the Din's Fire and Thor's Win really early and some other goals, and I was just behind for the whole first 2 hours or something. Just trying every possible loading zone. I didn't find everything I needed until about 140, 150-ish, but from there I could complete all my goals really quickly, so it only took me about half an hour from when I found the last thing. I just went adult and did them all. So once I found the last thing, I knew that if he couldn't find Well and Skull to the House.
Was there a moment you knew that this match was like yours for the taking?
No, I thought he was gonna snipe me on the last compass because I had to go all the way through fire again, which wasted like 5 minutes. I was like, oh no, I'm gonna lose because of that.
And then you had to go all the way through Jabu.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, because that was I sort of like was a bit like, because I swore you got Jabu Compass and Fire Compass when you were in that, because we're switching between both of your people's streams and trying to like get talking points. So like I said, this could have ended on Minuet of Forest, which if you asked me which goal would be ended on for each of yours, I would not choose Minuet.
Oh, considering it's the first pick, which means it's usually the one that everyone goes, this is the easiest pick on the board. If it ended on that, we'd be like, what?
What a god. Anyways, so Sloth, you're sitting in loser brackets, and you have a number of people that you could be fighting. Spleef, K-Maker, Banuru, Phoenix Feather, Marshall. Who are you hoping to fight if you had to pick between any one of those?
Who I'm hoping to fight? Yeah, my buddy Spleef, of course.
Don't do it. That puts expectations that I have to win now.
Yeah, you have to win. That's a pressure zone. I don't know.
Right.
I feel like Menu drafted me into the tryhard bracket somehow.
Oh, absolutely. We were commenting this.
I had like Titu, then RG, then WTHH, now EXO, and now it's probably Phoenix or Bono in the losers bracket if everything happens like it should happen. This is awful.
Yeah, Spleef brought that up during our commentary about just all the heavyweights you were taking out on your way to this match.
Well, the winners bracket is not better. If I had one, it's Osprey, and then it's Marco, Menu, or Top, I think. Yeah, it doesn't matter. It's like it's stacked, I guess. My
Yeah,
side
exactly.
is stacked.
EXO, you're moving on to.
Be the best.
Yeah, exactly. EXO, you're going on to face Austria in the quarterfinals. Are you excited?
Yeah, because he beat me in the lockout tournament last year, so I want my revenge.
Ooh.
The revenge match.
Revenge.
Yeah.
That'll be very interesting, and that'll no doubt be on this ZSR channel, though.
Nice.
Yeah, so a lot of people would want to watch that match. But yeah, it was extremely nail biting at the end. Were you gonna just bumble across Skullhouse, or was EXO gonna finish off his compasses? What an amazing match from the two of you.
Absolutely incredible to commentate.
Yeah, I feel a bit sad losing with 11 points after 222 or something. What was it? 225? I don't know.
Yeah,
But
it was.
224.
It was
fast.
crazy how much everything was coming into place because
But the card was really easy too.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
it was a good card with a good seed as well. Like, I don't know, I found everything so fast for myself, and
Yeah,
EXO
my
probably
beginning
too.
was literally second loading zone Zelda, and then immediately that brought me to trials, so I got shoes immediately. And you started in Kokiri, so you got a sword. So I just got
Yeah.
sword, shoes, and ZL all in the first 5 minutes. It doesn't happen.
Did you do standard rupee route, like get sword and do enter Decker shop basically?
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Yeah, I wanted to do that. Then I decided to. It's 35 rupees. I want to have 40, so I got the one behind Mido's house, and entered Mido's house. But I saved for like 10 minutes after and just entered Decker shop, so I had it really early as well. But
Yeah,
yeah,
with the I believe the first goal of the match was for Aura's win, so
yeah, I got both spells first. Yeah,
It's really weird to think of in a beta quest that both the early goals were ZL's like
I know.
magic spells.
Shout out to Goron Bracelet being one of your first goals because the end of ZL cutscene brought you to the minuet pedestal.
oh yeah, that's true. Dude,
Anyways, sorry, Sloth.
yeah, I just picked blue gauntlets like every single beta quest I do.
Yeah.
It's like I don't know. I like that gold. It's so free. Has so much utility. I don't know. I
Yeah, there
really
was
like my
also
draft. So,
yeah, you
but
picked a lot of risky one shot, one loading zone goals. Like Skullhouse obviously didn't work out for you, but thank goodness other stuff like Gerudo's card worked out for you as well.
yeah, I mean, I had like this strategy to draft like this, but yeah,
Okay.
worked out in the beginning. At the end, I couldn't find that one thing, but that's how it is, I guess.
Yeah. I don't really have anything else to really ask about during this draft. Spleef, do you have any more?
No, I think we've covered everything. It was an absolutely incredible match to commentate, and hopefully
So
everyone
good.
had an amazing time watching as well.
Yeah, thank you all for commentating and giving us an entertaining race to watch.
Absolutely no problem.
No, no worries.
Yeah, thanks for the commentary.
Yeah, thanks for having us on the channel.
No problem. So that will be it for today's stream. Thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and until next time, take care.